Ho, ho, ho! Welcome to the show, everybody. What's up? This is Xbox Ultimate episode 118. Hope you all enjoy this awesome show. We got a holiday theme here. Kate made it all festive. She was having fun with that. Appreciate you all being here. We're going to have some fun. This is going to be a little bit of a different episode, but this is kind of like, I don't know, this is probably the last like real show of the year, I would say, because I don't know who else is going to be here next week. And so we're probably going to do some kind of different kind of stream thing next Friday. That's like the 23rd. So we're getting on the cusp of Christmas at that point. It's kind of like a yearly wrap up. I wanted to kind of do a fun thing where we take a look back at Xbox's past, their present, and their future. And we'll see what ghosts haunt them and still today from the past and where they might be going, where they stand right now. So I kind of wanted to head that way with the show. Also, talk about some holiday gaming stuff and what to look forward to this holiday. If anybody has special holiday memories and stuff like that as well. But we do have a special guest for this episode. If you caught our Game Awards co-stream, which you had to have caught live because it's been blocked off and on from visibility ever since we did that show, thanks to a weird claim by the UFC and some music from the Super Mario trailer and stuff like that. So shout out to copyright claims. Appreciate you. All those bots are awesome. But we do have a special guest, and yes, he is a awesome dude. Also friends with 3-Bit, so that's where the introductions came from. But I've seen him hanging around the chats here for quite a while, and somebody I've been wanting to get on the show. He also works for ZeniMax Online as well. So he has secrets that he can't divulge with anybody, and it drives me crazy. However, that's cool. Awesome guy here. Insane Cakes, welcome to the show, man.
I will never divulge those secrets. And thank you. Hi, I'm Insane Cakes.
You better not. You'll get fired if you do here. So but what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm Insane Cakes. Like you said, I work for ZeniMax. I've been there about a year now, working on Elder Scrolls Online. I'm on the animation team. So yeah, thanks for having me.
And what's the other project you're working on? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
You have to refer to my HR team.
Yeah, right on.
If you were in another universe, what project would you want it to be?
That's great. We do this with 3-Bit all the time too, and he can't say stuff either. But hey, we also got first in my heart, my lovely wife Caitlin is here for the show today. What's up, baby?
I'm just excited that the kiddo is out of school until like January 5th or something like that.
Yes, thank God.
Also, your lights are really bothering me.
Are they? I tried to go Christmas.
There's like one red in the corner, and then all the rest are green.
You can play with my lights if you want. You have the control. You control everything else in my life, so you might as well do it with with your phone. There, you can adjust them as well, baby.
Yeah, I might.
Yeah, go for it.
No, I will.
Okay, I figured so. We got the realist himself, the one and only Jasper Gaming. What's up, Jasper?
Yeah,
not Lord Master Jasper.
Yeah, whatever. I think it's his PC, Caitlin. His PC's green, and then he has that green light in the middle, so it's like throwing it off.
Well, no, okay, so he has the PC, then he has the little Wolverine
you want me to make
light,
this red?
and then behind his TV is green, and then the corner one is green, and then on the other side it's red. Like, I don't really know what he was thinking there. See, that's so much better already.
Is that better?
Yeah. Yo, what's going on, right? I just got done playing some Overwatch, and that's what I've been up to. Almost done with High on Life. Just watching whatever the fuck he's doing over there in that corner.
I'm trying to get the one that stays red.
You had it.
No, it was shifting slowly. You just couldn't tell. Okay. So you were playing High on Life?
And Overwatch too.
Overwatch too. Right on. You liking High on Life?
It's all right.
Man,
I'd probably have a hot take on that. So
you have a hot take? What is? Am I a hooker now? Like, what is going on? It's like all red.
Red light special, maybe.
Roxanne. All right, sorry. Fuzzy, what's up, Fuzz? How's it going?
What's up, everyone? Oh man, great to be here. Great to just kick it back with you guys on a Friday night. just as far as gaming, only about halfway through on High on Life. Still getting the crashing issue, but on different games now. So yeah, it's the console that's probably busted, but it'll make it through the holidays and then get replaced or exchanged or whatever. But other than that, man, can't wait to get into some of these. Was it past, future, or past, current?
We're going Xbox Charles Dickens this show.
Yeah, can't wait to get into that. But man, oh man, just glad to be here with you guys.
And Jasper's Scrooge.
Yep,
pretty much.
Humbug.
The one and only Pong Soul is here as well. Pong,
I am
glad you got your hearing aids in time for the show.
It's just a Christmas miracle that you got rid of that god awful background UI thing that you had going on last week. So it's already a great holiday for me. No, really though, it's great to be here. Weird week. Not having Thursday's show has really thrown me off. And obviously, started getting into that busy holiday season and a lot of stuff going on. It never ends. But I am glad to be here with the family. That's for damn sure. And actually talk some gaming news because there has been some stuff as far as gaming goes. I should be, deep into Witcher 3 right now. Pause, but I'm not. I did start it back up again, and it does feel a lot better. Their new setup with their quick sign casting makes it a lot better. But instead, of course, I am on my addiction, Midnight Suns. And Mav, I forgot to tell you, it committed the cardinal sin against me, and you know what that is. It cost me hours, brother.
Oh, you lost game time.
Yeah, I had lost game time. I got, and they put out the patch today.
Is it the video memory error?
Yes, the Hero Ops video memory error. And it set me back about 2 hours because of the way I'm playing it. I had to go back, way back, and I save a lot. Again,
yeah, it doesn't save.
I'm the rookie.
The Abbey. You gotta.
Yeah, I'm not rookie here, but I had to go far enough back before I had accepted those Hero Ops, so it cost me about 2 hours of time. So I was not happy about that, but I went back to it, and actually I caught up and went past the point where I was. I gave it one shot. I said, if it does it again, it's over. I'm out until they fix it. But I actually got past that point before the patch dropped today, and I got a new set of Hero Ops that actually did not have that happen to it. So I actually went a different way, and it actually worked. So I'm past that point. So I've been doing that. But then, of course, the grazer in me. The grazer, you just never know which way the wind's blowing and what games I'm going to hop into. Well, I was going through the sale, and I wasn't going to buy anything because I'm like, nope, 2023 is deadly. I got to budget all this out. So I go through the sale, but then I came across, and you guys are all, whatever. You guys are going to be like, are you serious right now? Mortal Kombat 11 on sale for $9 for the Ultimate. So I picked that up and been rocking through the story because I had done it when it was in when they had done a free weekend, or was it in Game Pass for a minute?
I think it was in Game Pass
for a while.
Yeah, it was in Game Pass for a while. So I had started the story. $9 for the Ultimate Edition. I was like, I can't pass it up. So I had that in credits anyway on the Microsoft Store. So I picked up Mortal Kombat 11. So today, in between everything else I've had going on, I've been rocking out to the story. Finished the first part. Now I'm on Aftermath. Having a really good time. Love the story. I know it's corny, it's cheesy, it's stupid, but I love it. I think it's fun. And been having a good time with some Mortal Kombat 11 today. So that's been my gaming this week. So
nice.
Are you on part 2 of Midnight Suns yet? Or are you still in Act 1?
Oh no, I'm still in Act 1. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? There's Axe, Mav. Yeah. Yes, I'm like 55, 60 hours in now. Yeah, I'm on Act 1. Yeah. Jasper.
Do you know what day you're on?
No.
Okay.
Like 60 something maybe.
Okay, I think I finished on day 76 was when I beat the game.
Yeah, no, I'm on like day 60. I think something like 50s or 60. I can't remember. Something like that is when I last. Yeah, that's and I'm on Act 1. Correct. I'm powering up. Like when the devs said there's no way you could get your friendship levels to max on everybody, I call them liars right now because I think I could do it.
I only missed like I think 3 people because there's certain times during the training segments you can get like a full friendship level, like just
right, exactly. So that's what I thought, and you can keep doing side missions. That's the whole cool thing is you don't have to go anywhere. Like my research levels, I'm like 12 or 13 research level. I've got almost all the training. I'm like level 18 now or something like that. So no, I'm just rocking out, having a good time. I'm loving it, powering up all my characters. That end game is gonna be fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I haven't had as much time to game this past like 2 weeks, really.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of sucked. I've played here and there sporadically, you know. But I'm only probably like 7-8 hours into Midnight Suns. But there's a battle in my heart right now between that and Need for Speed Unbound. When I do have time to play, and Midnight Suns, like the more I'm playing it, the more I flip flop towards that for my game of the year. You know,
Yeah,
it's between those two. You know,
it's mine now.
Is it?
Yeah, it's mine for sure now. I mean, at this point, yeah, I could say that's my favorite game of the year. High on Life is really good too after they fixed it. I did go back and fire it up again. I'm only maybe a couple hours in, but I did fire that up just to test out the patch. Much better. Like again, I'm not sensitive to that stuff, but man, was that bad. Like I was like, this is way too janky. I can't even do this. So glad they fixed that. I think that could be really fun. I was sitting around watching Tammy and the T-Rex. So I think that's so freaking awesome, man.
It is. Supposedly there's a lot of movies and stuff.
Yeah, there's like 4 full-length movies, I think, plus all the commercials and all the other stuff they got in there. So yeah, exactly. So no, it's going to be a great game, and I can't wait to get back to it again. But Midnight Suns just keeps drawing me back, and I'm almost through my 10 hours of Need for Speed Unbound too. I saw it on sale. It's $40 at Target. It's $42 on Microsoft Store right now. I thought about it, and I'm still considering it. Yeah,
you get if it's on sale, do you still get the EA discount or whatever, the Game Pass discount?
I don't know. I don't know if that counts or not because it's so low for Need for Speed.
Oh yeah.
You get double. Maybe that's why it's down to $42. I don't know, but I think the Palace edition is only $48. I want to say, or something like that. So
it's
good deal right now.
So good. So good.
Yeah. I like it. I like it more and more. It's grindy. It's very grindy.
Yeah.
But I do like it. I just don't know if I'm gonna pay.
Have you gotten a car up to like A class, like our A plus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my Eclipse, my Eclipse is A plus right now. Right. So we're like, that's where I'm at. Yeah.
It gets so much more fun to drive, you know, when you get there.
It does. You can definitely feel the difference when you're putting the parts on. I'll give it that for sure. And you know, like the drifting and stuff gets even better as you get your car up there as well. And I haven't tried drifting tires like you did yet. But there
Put
are
the drift tires
I can
on
see
it.
Yeah.
How was the drifting in that game? I'm really dying.
You got to put the drift tires on.
It's inconsistent. Insane Cakes is my problem. The drifting isn't. It's got its moments where it feels really, really good, right? But you can be in a race and you can be on lap 2 and take the same corner the same way you did the first time, and I feel like the drifting is different. Sometimes it does not work exactly how it's supposed to, in my eyes. So, but overall, like I said, as you power up the car, it definitely gets better. When you start out, I was like, I don't know about this. This drifting is horrible.
Well, I started getting it better at the drifting, Pong, when I started getting it into like those classes where you're doing a lot more drift races.
Yeah.
And at first I sucked at those so bad. And then I started doing them, and I kept doing. There's like ones you can do, like the practice one or whatever. And then I started getting a lot more consistent with it. So there is like a trick to it, but I did have the drift tires on.
Yeah.
So I think that helps a lot. Yeah.
Did you guys adjust the setup, or did you also change the how it goes into drift, where it does it automatically, or if you do the tap brake, or if you let off the gas? Or
I've got it on both right now. So that's the way I feel comfortable with it, because sometimes I'm in the middle of it and I forget, and then I do one or the other. So I left it on both.
Right.
So it works. So did the devs ever come out and say why you're driving around when parts of the story, like before the change, I'm not trying to spoil anything, but you are driving people around in an R32, and then when you get back into actual racing, you got a worse car? Why can't I keep the R32?
That R32.
That's your Uber
badass.
It's the base level R32. It's not the GTR. That's
I think
sure.
I think that car probably belongs to the old guy. I can't remember his name.
Like he wouldn't give it to us to help race and rebuild his garage? Really?
You know, he doesn't want to risk it, I think.
I'm still mad about that if you can't tell.
You'd have to take all the stickers off because it's got all the advertising, so the cops know exactly where to go.
Yeah. What's do you have a game of the year, babe, that you've played this year?
Oh Lord.
GTA.
Yeah, that probably the GTA Online, that new game.
That's what you've played most this year by
It's
far.
fire. So good.
And you know, it did get a lot of updates this year.
Yeah, it did.
So
So good.
Technically, I guess, you know, because
Was
they
that
did
up for
have
best
the Series
ongoing
X
game?
version.
No, it wasn't. It should have
No.
been.
The Series X
Yeah.
version did come out this year, right? So technically it's new. Because they did charge for that.
Yeah,
Whatever it's
ray
worth.
tracing.
Yeah. Ray tracing they just added ray tracing now to it.
The app can attest. It looks so good.
It does. It's, man, when you play that game and you play some of these other games that are just coming out, it's like, this is like a 360 game originally, and this game smokes
Next year will be
most
10
new
years
games
old.
that come out now, like in graphics and detail and stuff. It's absolutely bananas. What about you, Jasper?
Man, it's tough. Like, I'm really like I'm probably like 6 hours into Gotham Knights, but I'm really loving that. Like, that's actually surprised me a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought I was gonna hate that, but I'm playing on PC, so I don't have
you
as
were
much
like,
of it.
I don't see you excited a lot, but when you got past that opening cutscene, you were like, "Holy crap, that opening
Yeah.
cutscene!" That's like I saw enthusiasm from you. So
Yeah.
that was awesome.
So that was really good. Like, I want to say Elden Ring just because that was like an amazing experience, but I feel like that's almost too easy. Like, it's like everyone's game of the year, so like I kind of want to be a little different there. Yeah,
Well,
I'm
Gotham
I don't know
Knights or Gotham Knights more than Midnight Suns.
I'll stick with Power Wash Simulator.
Okay.
Wow.
Fair enough. Dude,
Wow.
we did have a blast with that Power Wash Simulator. It was so fun. What about you, Fuzz?
Of games that came out this year,
Yeah.
as crazy as it's going to sound, my game of the year
Seven.
would have to be Gran Turismo.
Oh my
Primarily
god, I
because-
knew he was going there.
Yeah.
Are you serious, Fuzz? After all the shit you talked, really?
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
it's the of new games that I've played this year. It's my go-to more
Yeah.
often. Although, despite its flaws, there's the one aspect with custom races that I do that makes me keep coming back. So it's like the problem is you have to buy all the cars yourself, and the grind to get the money to buy all the cars that you want for a particular race is annoying because they don't have like the preset races built into the game like they should, or what would have carried over from, like, let's say GT Sport. But afterwards, once you have the cars you want to make like a IMSA race or something like that, or if you want to do like one of my favorites is like the Mazda MX-5 Cup type of race. It I won't say it's flawless because it does have other issues. Like, you have to do grid start because they don't believe in doing double foul rolling starts. But after you get past that aspect, the time of day change, like you could speed up the time. So if you're racing at Daytona, it's, mid-afternoon for like a 15-minute, well, anywhere from a 15-minute to a 30-minute race I'll do. It'll start in daylight and end at night. You'll have the tire wear that you can adjust accordingly, the fuel consumption rate you can adjust accordingly. You can add damage or make it just so it's cosmetic damage as opposed to having to go to the pits to get everything fixed when the AI cuts you off. But overall, I mean, minus microtransactions, minus the grind, once you get a custom race to your liking, yeah, it's as good as it gets.
You're such a pony, Fuzzy.
I was
Get him off the
just-
show.
I was just looking back at some of the stuff that there's nothing that released this year, it seems like.
It's a very small list, really. I mean, for big games, anyway.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like different stuff. We never ran out of stuff to play, so it wasn't really a problem. But
I was gonna say Gas Station Simulator was really good too. It was like, no, seriously, it was actually like the only thing that actually pulled me away from GTA.
it's true. That's a fact.
That's all that matters.
Nice.
So
Hey, you love the freaking power washing. I put way more fucking work in with the freaking
gas station.
building my gas station.
Could you sell drugs out of your gas station?
No.
Oh, okay.
Can you deny people to go to the bathroom and have like a tire attached to a key?
Yeah, that gas station simulator is actually pretty cool. I saw her playing it quite a bit. So Insane Cakes, are you like contractually bound to have to say Elder Scrolls Online was your game of the year?
Elder Scrolls
Working at
Online.
Cinemax?
Well, okay. Jokingly, yes. Sentimental, yes, because that's my first big release period ever. High Isle. That's the first one I got to work on, and so that's always gonna have a soft spot for me. I got the collector's edition for that one. We're talking
What
about
animation did you work on, Insane?
For that one, there's a bunch of fawn creatures. I did a bunch of those. So that was me early on. They were putting me in different areas of animation to see where I was working at, and so I did a few monster ones. Those are the big ones. Cool. And now I'm doing mementos, emotes, and house guests.
Sweet.
I handle all the animations for those and work on those teams, and that's a blast.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no. Dude, I could talk about animation. Like game of the year, non AAA. I really love Sifu. I thought that game was. The gameplay, it's just fun just to go in there and just knock people around. It's just fluid, super fluid. AAA is God of War. I'm a sucker for the story. I love that story to death. I've been a God of War fan since the very, very first God of War back on PS2.
It's been great, Insane Kates. Have a great rest of your night. We'll talk to you in the new year sometime. Not on Xbox Ultimate.
We need to put you and Fuzzy like in the corner, I think.
I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. It's all right.
No, it's awesome.
Can I change my answer to Somerville at least? Somerville was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Insane Cakes with God of War, did you agree with all the 10s, or what would your rating overall be? What do you think?
Can I do halves? Can I do 9.5?
Yeah, of course.
I would do 9.5.
Yeah.
The 5 is from a lot of the dialogue for the puzzle things that everybody's always talking about. Yeah. However, I don't know if y'all watch Game Maker's Toolkit on YouTube. He breaks down video games very, very well. Anybody who wants to be a game developer, like his stuff is the best. He did a whole thing on why they did that, and there are many reasons to why they overdid all of those things. But when it comes to like movies and games and stuff, the best thing to do is show, don't tell, and they did way too much telling for that. Yep. But on the other hand, I have met people who kind of want their hand to be held through some of that stuff, so I can understand it. But for me, it's not for me. So.
You almost think with all the accessibility options they put into that game that they wouldn't have the ability to turn that off, right?
Yes.
For people like you, like me, like again, I'm not going to play because I don't have a PS5, but in those types of games, I'd much rather try to figure stuff out before I have that over the top, oh, look over here, that's where you need to go kind of stuff. So I think I wish they would have done that for all the people that did have an issue, because I think that was the one consistent complaint I heard from a lot of people was that part of it. So
if they would have fixed that, they would have won Game of the Year at the Game Awards, hands down. Right? I mean, that's it. That's awesome, man. Shout out to the chat. We got lots of awesome people here. Alvin hit us with a $10 super chat. Amazing as always. Alvin's awesome, and he said just because. Well, this community is great. This is kind of like almost like a yearly wrap-up show for us in a way. So I do want to thank everybody that hangs out in the chats. We got awesome people here right now. Spooky is here. Artie, what's up? See you hanging out in the chat. Insane Cakes. Mr. Boomstick, Double Barrel Gaming. I had the pleasure of hopping on his show this morning for a little bit. Sharing some Christmas stories and stuff like that.
I'm pissed I missed that. Boom. Great show this morning, bud. Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't be there, brother.
Absolutely awesome time. He puts on a great show, gives away all this stuff, and just amazing guy, amazing community he's built over there, amazing channel. Lucky to be a part of it whenever I can. So shout out to Boom. Shout out to RSJ Fan. How's it going? We got Shane G, Blackheart A, as Pong says, Mr. Joanna Dark, General Spartan 27, how's it going? Grasso Tony, how's it going? It's Tim A. What up? Risk It for the Biscuits hanging out. Talos Ray. And let's see who else we got here. Cerebral Paul. What's up, Paul? How's it going, dude? We got lots of awesome people here. If I miss you, Relski, what up? Andrew Colinane, what up? Guardian Black, what up? Razor and Z, Def Leopard, Lots of awesome people. Bean, Wilfrey, Rosario. Man, the names keep coming. Ghost Fixter. Trying to make sure, see if I don't miss anybody. RDM, I don't know if I already said that or not. Back from the Dead. It's always one of the first to comment in the chat. Appreciate everybody for being here on this show and the whole past year. I also want to say thanks to the panel, because this is like your spare time. You could be doing whatever the hell you want. You could be playing more games. You could be adding hours to your like 70 plus hours you had in Midnight Suns or whatever, you know what I mean? But you guys choose to hang out.
Jasper's like, I am. What are you talking about?
yeah, I am right now.
No, I think Fuzzy plays games sometimes during the show, don't you?
I used to, but I haven't in a while.
Why are you deflecting
I know my
right now,
microphone
Jasper?
winds up like making noise and whatnot.
It's not just me.
I do sometimes too. I mean, especially on shows where like, you know, you wait and to chime in, I listen, and then I'll just like play something. But yeah, it's I know Kate does this and that during the show.
I don't play Xbox during the show. If I play something, it's like PC on the side monitor, like Marvel Snap or some shit.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, Tony's right. A special shout out to Lupa.
Yes, absolute shout out to Lupa. This is that's one thing. It's like kind of, you know, back in my mind, you know, constantly all the time is wondering and hoping at the same time. We all do miss her. We love her so much, and it's I hope to hear some news. And again, if I hear anything, I will let you guys know. But as of yet, I get DMs quite a bit asking, you know, and I have to say the same thing every time. It's like, sorry, no, I don't know anything, you know, and there's no way for us to really find out anything, you know, except for ask, and we haven't gotten any answers. So, but we do have a show to get to, everybody here, and we're gonna have some fun on this one. I want to dive deep into Xbox, dive deep into the ghost of Xbox past, present, and future, and we're gonna talk about and see, you know, where they've been, where they are, and where they're going. This is last few years has been a very fluid company, I would say. I still feel like we're dealing with problems from Xbox past. We're still dealing with these, hence why 2022 was the way it was with first party AAA games, and all that stuff. Well, but hey, before we get into that though, hey, we do have a sponsor, and you wanna give a shout out to our sponsor, babe?
Sure. Baby, it's getting cold outside. Trim your wood and get it ready to start a fire in the bedroom this winter. Go to manscaped.com and use code FUNSPECULATION to get 20% off and free shipping. Show your partner that Santa isn't the only big man coming down your chimney with a smooth, silky sack this Christmas.
Pause.
Wow. Wow.
Bye, guys.
Oh, is that it?
So she's out. No.
You can talk about all the little things that you can do down there.
Well, down where? I mean,
down your chimney.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can smooth out, and it makes it for as smoother ride on the sleigh. So everybody, you know, check out that code, Fun Speculation. You do get 20% off at manscaped.com. It is great products as well. And, you know, even Kate likes Manscaped stuff, but not for her purposes, for mine. Not you using it. You like them, though. Because
I like your balls?
Well, I mean,
them?
Well, you know, that I was talking about the products. But we already knew
what
that.
What doesn't like a big silky sack around Christmas time?
That's right. It's a gift that keeps on giving. Again and again and again. Right on. But yeah, appreciate everybody. And again, manscaped.com, 20% off. Fun Speculation is the code. Free shipping as well. Manscaped.com, you get 20% off and free shipping. Thanks, baby, for doing the ad. I know you don't feel good, also. So if you want to dip, you can. You
Okay,
have my permission.
Wow.
I don't want to dip.
You dip, I dip, we dip.
I don't dip, you dip.
Is that how it goes?
I don't know. I have no idea. Move on.
All right. Do you want to tell everybody where they can find you, babe?
You just kicking her out of the show? Like,
no,
what
she
you
said,
want-
she said.
I was like, yeah, you can find me on Twitter at KaitlinXO615 and TikTok at Caitlin_fancy. Forgot it for a minute.
All right. Thanks for talking about my balls, babe. Love you.
No, get the fuck up.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into this ghost of Christmas past first, because when you're haunted by the Scrooge's ghost, Charles Dickens, famous Christmas Carol book, you first visit is the past. You got to go back in time and look at your mistakes that you made and where you've been. So I feel like we've been on an interesting ride with Xbox over the past 20 years, and this was the 20th year anniversary this past year. Remember they did that whole 20-year breakdown thing of Xbox Live. Sorry, it was 20 years of Xbox Live. It was like 22 years of Xbox, whatever. Yeah. Okay, my mistake. But it's been an interesting ride. So they came out, and I was actually watching Rand and Miles Dampierre's show. Miles Dampierre has his channel, and he had Rand on, and they were breaking down the original Xbox exclusive games, and they were like ranking them. So that was a pretty fun watch. And I remember also that Xbox released that documentary also to kind of talk about the start of Xbox and all these different things. I want to talk about what was the best Xbox generation. I think we can mostly agree with that in the past. And what was the worst? So for me, 360 obviously
is the best.
Is the best.
I mean, I would say that, but also like Series X comes real close to that. I feel like, even though we're still early into it.
The issue with the Series X still, now it's my favorite console, but if you look even at the first 2-3 years of the original Xbox, the amount of exclusive Xbox games they had was absolutely insane, right? Because they had a screen of 50 games, in that stream, and I mean you had games like Halo, and you had Ghost Recon and stuff 2. That was exclusive. Halo 2, you had Mass Effect was exclusive.
That was 360.
The original Mass Effect was, or was that at the end? Okay,
that was
still was exclusive. Yeah, Splinter Cells came out. They were timed exclusives, right? You had, I mean, what Conquer,
Fable,
Voodoo Vince.
Yeah, Voodoo Vince. Well, that was one that was on that list. Fusion Frenzy, right?
Blink the Time Sweeper, where the fuck that stupid thing was.
Yeah.
Morrowind, KOTOR.
Morrowind, KOTOR, good. Yeah, Jade Empire.
Yep, Jade Empire.
Speaking of BioWare, right? Was Legacy of Kain? Or was that on PlayStation?
No, I think one showed up on Xbox at least, if I remember correctly. Trying to remember. I think it did. I'm pretty sure.
World 2?
Yeah, there was a shit ton, right, of big Xbox games, right? They had their own sports franchise of gaming. They had NFL Fever, and they had
Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball. That's what you were thinking.
Dead or Alive.
Absolutely 100% best game ever.
Yeah,
sports wise.
Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball.
Yes.
They had the was it PGR? Man, so many great Xbox games. Forza started on the original Xbox as well. So
I mean, the predecessor to that was kind of like Project Gotham Racing,
yeah. That was great too. So you had all these great franchises and they came out swinging, right? And really set what was in motion for a great thing, because I think they gained a lot of momentum by the end of the Xbox generation, right? Leading into the 360, right?
Fable, we're getting a new one of those.
Yeah. Perfect Dark Zero was a 360 exclusive. That was a launch game, right? So I think some people could make an argument because of the amount of exclusives that Xbox original.
I mean,
was.
you have the fucking face of Xbox started with OG Xbox Master Chief, so
yeah, and I think that maybe a lot of people think the 2 best Halo games were the first 2.
Yeah.
Insane Kicks. I see you. What do you think? 3 or
3?
Reach?
Yeah,
3. It's an age thing, you know.
Reach for the story, but 3 for the gameplay.
Okay. So what's y'all's like biggest complaint about? Let's look at the pass, right? Xbox generation going to the 360 generation. I don't think there was a lot wrong back then.
Red Ring of Death. It's the biggest
I mean,
hiccup.
If
One
you
of the
want to
biggest
start
hiccups
like
in gaming history.
early, the original Xbox, the major complaint with that was just the size of the controller. Like
The Duke.
Yeah.
The Duke was god awful. I hated that thing so bad.
Yeah. The original controller was not the most easy to use for a lot of people. People with small hands like Pong, had to have a tough time.
No, I do. I got average hands. I don't have big hands, so they suck. Yes. 100%.
But I think the S controller was underrated also when that came out. That's still one of my favorite controllers. The feel on that thing was awesome. So Red Ring of Death, though, man. Now we're talking about who here thinks the 360 is the best generation of Xbox?
Me.
Right?
Yeah.
Fuzzy's raising his hand. You just can't see it.
Yeah, you had the 360. Fuzzy didn't play on the 360.
No, Fuzzy didn't play 360.
I was still PlayStation only at that point.
Yep.
Yeah, he was a pony still to this day. I mean, his game of the year is GT7.
Right.
I mean,
a very flawed racing game from Sony still gets his game of the year over everything else. Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, he's still showing his bias now. He's like Christopher Dring and all these games media journalists out there. He's just on an Xbox podcast just to slip in and lift this little PlayStation.
Yeah, I heard Fuzzy has a
jabs.
sponsorship from PlayStation. And he just only shares it on his own channel. He doesn't share it here.
Really, Fuzz?
No.
So Red Ring of Death was like maybe the only thing really wrong back then with Xbox.
I mean,
the lack of first party studios was too.
Yeah.
Right, they relied on third parties to carry.
Yeah, but they got a lot. They
also started doing a lot of
those
spin-off kind of ideas. Like the Kinect started there. That didn't really hit as well as they would want, I would assume. The HDD player thing that kind of slumped. Yeah. So it's like,
yeah, no, that was a fail.
Yeah.
I mean, they went toe to toe with Blu-ray and failed. So it is what it is. When I say studios, Mav, I just meant that they had the perfect opportunity to start building the way that Sony did back then with their success. And sure, they did do some, but they also weren't ready to manage those studios, and that's why they
didn't go as all in as they could have.
Correct.
Yeah,
so correct.
It was
they
still
had a lot.
an experiment to them, and if you watch back that documentary, it kind of leads to that. Like they had to get everything approved and stuff, and it was like a struggle for them to even get stuff made, right? So but you're right. But I will say that team, within the lack of their first party studios, which I agree with you 100%, found a way, right, to have some of the best exclusive games back in those two eras.
Well, thanks to Sony in part. The cell processor. Nobody wanted to work on that thing for a while. So they got some exclusives by default. But like the Gears move, obviously, that's a W, right? They saw Gears, they knew what it was going to be. They took advantage of it when they had the opportunity to take away to buy the IP from Epic and create the coalition, and that's exactly what they did. And that was a huge W for them. So they did have moves.
And getting Lionhead, I think back then was a big move because Peter Molyneux was like a big time famous game.
They kind of let that fall apart.
I 100%. I'm saying I haven't gotten to that point yet. We're gonna get to the bad part of the past soon, right? Because
we didn't get Milo. Had we gotten Milo, I agree with you, but we didn't.
Yeah. Well, we got Fable 1 and 2, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And Fable 3 was still a good game. It wasn't.
I like 3 personally.
Yeah.
So
I hated 3.
What?
I got that game
Jasper,
free.
you were like 5 years old.
I got that game
Jesus.
free like 3 times before I ever finished it. It's just like they had to keep giving that game free away so I would beat it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we were eating pretty damn good back then for games that felt like this is only on Xbox, right? And even like even the game, a lot of the multiplayer games that were multiplat, like you had Xbox Live that had the party chat system. You had all these things that like felt like there was more of a reason to play online games on Xbox as opposed to other places, right? They didn't even add party chat until PS4. Right?
Yeah.
For PlayStation. Just crazy, you know?
Yep. Well, they were ahead of the curve for sure.
Yeah.
And they tried in the East too during the 360, which is another big win, right? We got one of the greatest JRPGs of all time that will not be known as such because not enough people played it, but Lost Odyssey is one of the greatest JRPGs of all time.
Yeah.
And Capcom made Dead Rising Dead Rising exclusive to Xbox, the first one. So
man, they were swinging back then for the fences. I mean, they got Blue Dragon also from that from Miss Walker, you know.
We got Ninja Blade from Software to compete with Ninja Gaiden. I mean, they were trying big time, right?
99 Nights.
Yeah, 99 Nights, freaking fantastic. Both of them.
Was Phantasy Star Online? Was that on PlayStation as well back then?
Some of them were. I think some of them were exclusive to Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember. I remember playing Phantasy Star Online on the Dreamcast mainly.
Yep, that's where I played it too.
And I don't remember after that. I didn't touch it again until recently, you know, on this Xbox now. But yeah, it was. What's y'all's favorite original Xbox game?
Halo 2.
Halo 2. Pong.
First party.
Yeah. I was listening to your Iron Lords show when you were a guest, and there was like a great journey that you had. You know, I love listening to it, man.
I knew how long it was going to take. It was funny. I had to cut it off. Let me see. First part, Gears. It's got to be
Gears.
Gears, the original trilogy.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the OG Xbox.
Were you talking about the OG Xbox?
Yeah.
Or 360?
OG Xbox.
OG Xbox. Well, since I never really truly owned an OG Xbox, first party. Oof. That's tough, man.
I know you play. I know you played some, you know, but
I played some, but again, because Halo never just became my thing, that's like the easiest one. But it's hard for me. Give me some other, like Forza, I guess. Probably.
Forza. Motorsport.
Yeah, I mean, I could do third-party exclusives like Morrowind. Yeah. I mean, Morrowind obviously started my love for Elder Scrolls, so you know, I could obviously say that. Splinter Cell obviously was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
But I guess out of first-party studios on OG Xbox, I mean, probably Forza, I would say, because it actually started eating into my Gran Turismo love at that point, right? So when I first played it.
What about you, Fuzz?
I didn't even.
You're right. You didn't touch it. Never mind. We'll move on.
Yeah, I was mad at Microsoft for Windows ME and Windows Vista. So it was like, if they can't even do the PC software right, I was like, why am I going to bother with their console?
Have you ever went back and played some of those OG games?
The closest ones would be more so 360 generation. I don't think I've played any of the real, like, true first.
What about Master Chief Collection? Did you play all the Halos yet?
Played a little bit of it, but it's a draw for me in comparison to like Forza. But I think the earliest Forza I've messed around with was like for Motorsport was 4, and for Horizon I got that.
You missed the best 3 Forza Motorsports.
Yeah, the first few Motorsports I'm pretty sure were you know on par if not better than Gran Turismo, considering how it would take Gran Turismo like 7 years to make a game. But
Forza 2 probably, Fuzzy, maybe started approaching it. Like I said, it started eating into my love of Gran Turismo, but Gran Turismo was still ahead of them at that point.
Forza Motorsport 3 was the best Forza Motorsport.
Yeah, 3 when that came out, that changed the game. That's when I was like, all right, these guys know what they're doing. They overtook Gran Turismo at that point for sure.
Yeah. That was an insane game. Speaking of insane cakes, what about you? OG Xbox, man. Were you like 5?
No, I was like 12, I think, when it came out.
Okay.
No, I didn't get much like Pong. I didn't get it at the original Xbox until I got a 360 and then did the backwards stuff. It would have to have been Halo or Fable. I put so many friggin' hours into Fable 1 trying to get every damn thing for that, and 2 and 3 as well. Yeah, definitely probably Fable or Halo.
What about 360?
360, 99 Nights. I put so many hours into 99 Nights.
Wow, that's a good one, dude.
It's a freaking great game.
It is. I miss that a lot.
Me and my kid played that nonstop. Oh my god, so much fun.
For me, for the original Xbox, it was Halo 2 and 1A, Splinter Cell KhAos ThEory 1B.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then Forza Motorsport, all of those were like 1C, you know, and then Fable was 1D. It's hard. It's so hard to pick, honestly, between those franchises. You had like iconic franchises.
I mean, I still go back and play Halo to this day. Like,
yeah, you just played Halo 2 again recently.
Yeah, I mean, I'll fucking play it 4 more times next year too.
It holds up, though. You know what I mean? Like, it holds up, especially with Master Chief Collection. That Master Chief Collection is insane.
Here comes Steel. Forza Motorsport 2 flipped it all. Okay, Steel. All right, that's fine. You can say I said it started to approach Gran Turismo, but again, Gran Turismo 2. Look, A-Spec was freaking ridiculously good. I absolutely. Again, it took a long time for me to get over the Gran Turismo thing, to actually admit that somebody was doing it better, because Gran Turismo was such a big part of my PlayStation 2 era. Like, it was crazy. So. That's all, Steel. That's that younger generation, brother. You coming in late.
Steel just remembers the hot lapping around Maple Valley Raceway and the Tommy Kyra Subaru Impreza M20B. That car was like the craziest B-class car, man. You could like just zoom around. It was, the thing was, there was like, they had like great stat tracking back then too, and leaderboards, and like it was a thing to try and get the best times, like always with that game. It was like nothing else really out there like it, because it was online with Xbox Live and all this stuff, right? They had the clubs and all these things started, and but yeah, getting those times up, and there was like 2 cars that were like the cars to race with in each class, but this was also taking it back to the first time you're starting to like be able to share tuning setups with people, and, you know, share designs and stuff with people. So Forza just changed the game completely, 100%. Still love that game. Jega J says Midnight Club Dub Edition. Yeah.
Oh, for arcade racers, it's up there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Did y'all ever go like low riding around town just with the car club, like with a bunch of group of friends, and just like bounce up and down with? No? Come on. Yeah. That was all. That's what it was all about. That's like the only thing to do.
No, I was a single player back then.
We had a car club in Midnight Club.
I remember you telling me.
It's like, awesome. I don't remember what the name was, honestly, it was at this point, but we even had a website, like an AOL homepage. Y'all remember that shit, right? For it, and some real car club like sent us a cease and desist order.
It's freaking awesome.
Like, I got an email of a cease and desist from a real life car club about our fake Midnight Club for our car club name.
Was it Redneck Tuners?
No. Redneck Tuners. No, it was probably like something customs or something like that. You know, it's like, it was stupid. Whatever it was stupid. But yeah, I think online gaming was the hallmark of those early Xbox days too, where it really set it apart. All right, let's get into some other past. This little thing came out called the Wii, and all of a sudden PlayStation it took off. All of a sudden PlayStation and Xbox say, we need to get into motion gaming, right? We need to set this path. Okay. So Xbox decides we're gonna make, which was a very successful selling accessory, the Kinect. And
some of the best games on the 360, Kinectimals.
There was a lot of great Kinect games back. There was not really a lot, but there was a couple of good Kinect games. Kinect Sports, you know, It was pretty good.
Just Dance.
He's Just Dance. Yeah.
Next Star Wars, you do the Han Solo dance.
Remember that Fantasia game they had?
Yep.
So there was some interesting things, but the Kinect had a bad side effect, I think, for Xbox, because, like you said, Pong, they only had so many studios, and Rare,
they fucked Rare,
Lionhead, some of these studios got forced to make Kinect stuff, and not only did Rare get forced to make a bunch of Kinect stuff, but they also had to do avatars. They were behind all the avatar stuff and everything behind that and everything. So it felt like all of a sudden this huge supply of first party awesome new games that are coming out and other exclusives are all of a sudden not happening. You got stuff like Fable Journey and these Kinect sports games and these other Kinect games. And
I mean, I think the third party used to connect better than a lot of the fucking Xbox stuff. Like Skyrim, you could yell "Foos" and it would like actually use the dragon shout, and you could say "save" and it would save and stuff. Like, oh, that's and Mass Effect 3 used it. You could like say like bio shot or whatever the fuck it was, and like he would shoot his stuff. Is like all that kind of stuff.
Pause.
Yeah, he'd do his stuff. He'd shoot his stuff. You talk to him. So I think like third party ended up using the Kinect better than actual Xbox did, like in a lot of ways.
You're not wrong.
Nobody cared. We were all playing Sneak King from Burger King anyways.
So this kind of like set that path that led into the next, I would say, down era, right, for them. You ended up, after this happened, I think this caused a lot of issues with Lionhead. I think it changed the studio.
I mean, they fucking got ruined by that Fable Kinect only game that they delayed and canceled like 4 times.
Well, they had the Fable Journey that came out, but then they were trying to do a hero shooter version of Fable,
correct,
which was Fable Legends.
And Molyneux was off making Milo, which was eating up resources left and right. Oh, God.
So, you know, there was a lot of promise that never got delivered on. But that was a Peter Molyneux trait, period.
It was.
Right?
Yeah.
But when they're forced to make all these other things that they, you know, maybe they were excited about it, I don't know. But there's people that played Fable Legends that actually liked it. It was close to releasing.
It
and it existed, but they canceled it right before it came out. There was betas and like shout out to AssassinLupa again, like we were talking about her earlier. She remembers playing Fable Legends. And she loved it. You know, but she loves Fable, right?
Tim Dog talked about it. He likes it. He played it back in.
And it's crazy that a game can get to that point and then still not come out. A game as big as Fable. And this came down to probably budget, I think. I mean, what is the reasoning of closing Lionhead, you guys think? Because that was, out of all the dark moments for me, that was the worst moment for Xbox history.
It was a mess. I mean, it's one of Phil's biggest regrets, right? He talks about that.
Yeah.
Closing a Lionhead was one of his biggest mistakes, and he knows it when he looks back at that. But yeah, they were, again, and they weren't all in, like you said, Matt. When you're not all in, then you're looking at every little number, right? And obviously Microsoft was looking at every little number from Xbox back then. And unfortunately, with Molyneux spending a ton on Milo and doing all that stuff on top of Legends, which, you know, according to them, I think if I remember the articles correctly, and anybody correct me if I'm wrong, but overall, even though we know some people in the community that played it and actually liked it, the reception was not good. Like, they did not think that thing was going to sell at all, right? And so, you know, when they do a big cancellation like that after that many years, back then, the studio wasn't profitable. It was like, you know, Square Enix talking about Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal, right? It's just not, their profits weren't there. So Microsoft nixed them. I mean, I think that's pretty much what it comes down to.
A different era back then, right?
Yeah, they weren't all in.
They had just spent all the billions of dollars fixing the hardware issues in the 360 era. They invested all this money in the Kinect, which turned out to not be.
And they were starting the next generation consoles where everything was going TV. So it's like, do we even need them anymore?
It was an interesting time. You know, I think the Kinect could have been a better device than it was. There was a period in time when they made a decision for based on cost to remove a like processor or something out of it and make the 360 use its resources to help power it. And at that point, when that happened, I remember a lot of there was talk about the developers were like, oh, right, we can't do what we thought we're going to be able to do with this thing. And it kind of got out there to all the news publications and stuff like that. And I think that spelt a doom for that device ultimately, because it became something that wasn't potentially as powerful as it could have been. Still cool tech that ended up innovating lots of other industries, and people use Kinect still to this day for different things. I liked it for saying, you know, Xbox record that and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But I think it did have bad side effects that led, and it was a decision to even go that route, period. You know, when you start playing copycat, at times I think it can be a mistake. You know, the Wii fizzled out itself, right? So while it was super hot, even Nintendo moved on from that. You know what I mean? So
well, they tried to capitalize on it with the Wii U, but they fucked themselves.
Yeah, because I think the Wii U is actually a great device, but they didn't market it properly. They didn't know how to separate it. They didn't understand. People didn't know it was a new console. They thought it was an add-on for the, like, there's just, they didn't do right by the Wii U at all in-house, you know. And all of the best early Switch games, launch games, developed for the Wii U, right? Crazy. But there wasn't a lot of Wii U's out there. I got one day one. I loved it. It had the whole Nintendo store, everything. It
I
had
bought a
backwards
Wii U only
compatibility.
to play Mario Kart 8, and I played Mario Kart 8 for like 3 months and then sold the Wii U.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Would y'all say this was like the transition from the 360 to the Xbox One, especially after this point, like Jasper said, TV. You also had not only the TV message. That wasn't the worst problem. Well, the other worst problem was DRM. Remember that?
The boy Donnie D.
Interesting thing about it, I feel like most third-party publishers expected the 360 to kill the place the Xbox One, the next Xbox console, to dominate the PlayStation, because Xbox had the lead for a long time the last generation. They had all these new third-party deals going in. They had Respawn doing Titanfall. It was going to be that was Xbox exclusive.
That was the coolest fucking ad they had back then. It was like they showed the ad. It's like the guy goes to sit on the couch. He's like, Xbox, play Titanfall. Like, I just wanted to do that every fucking time with my Kinect.
They had really cool promises out there. You know, you knew that there was all these exclusive games being developed for it and everything that. But it seems like the third party publishers, once you know, this is how you share games came out. Once the backtrack on the DRM thing with Xbox came out, once all of these different things and they shifted focus, it seemed like a lot of the third-party publishers started accepting more of the PlayStation deals because the PlayStation started flying off the shelves. Xbox also came out $100 more expensive because they forced the bundle of the Kinect into the box, which is another bad side effect, again, of the Kinect. It cost your console to be less powerful as the competition, plus it's $100 more than the competition. You put those two things together, usually doesn't spell for a recipe for success, right? I was actually on board with the direction they had for games, but they didn't market it and message it properly, right? So this led them to lose a lot, I think, in the industry, because they started getting outsold like 4-1, 5-1 out the gates. That was like, is Xbox going to survive? Were you worried about Xbox and Syncakes at this time? I mean, did you think they were?
That was the same time like memes started getting big, like custom made memes started getting big. So the whole trading thing, I remember, I always go back to remembering that video, because that's back when I was a bigger PlayStation fan than Xbox fan. And I will always remember they did the video. This is how you trade games. They handed to you. And I remember memes and memes of just like PlayStation. It was like the Attack on Titan when Aaron turns into Titan for the first time. It was like PlayStation on Xbox, and like I was just like, oh, that's not good for Xbox at all. So like I feel like stuff like that on top of all those things, it just made it really bad. I was worried for Xbox back then. So it was really tough.
I gotta get to a couple super chats real quick here. Jigga J hit us earlier with a $2 super chat. Talking about the original Xbox games. I should have mentioned this one earlier. Appreciate you, Jigga. It says Buffy, Vampire Slayer, and Indiana Jones were good. Talking about those old school OG Xbox games. Yeah, the Indiana Jones game kind of holds up, honestly, as well. You can play it today, and it still holds up. It actually looks pretty dang good. A J Mac member for 2 months. Shout out to J Mac, says, I thought Hot Wheels was coming to Game Pass.
So did Xbox.
Yeah.
for a minute.
I saw
something
Idle
happened.
Sloth tweet the other day that it's there, but it's
kind of there, but it's not. Yeah, I looked it up and it is kind of there, but it's not available. Like it doesn't let you do anything with it.
The listing is there, but it's
yeah. And obviously the sale is there too, where they're giving it away. I mean, it's $9 right now, or where the hell it is. So it's coming eventually. Go ahead.
Originally, it was supposed to be the Game of the Year edition, what people thought, and then it was just the regular edition. But then Xbox made all the DLC for Game Pass. So like, what the hell's this? And then they took it away. So it's like, no one really knows what the fuck we're getting.
No. I imagine we'll get that after the new year.
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of contractual thing that they probably have with PS Plus that hasn't completely expired.
You think there could be some kind of publisher dispute between the Hot Wheels publisher and Microsoft over?
Could be. I mean, there's something could have happened last minute too. I mean, it certainly could have. So
it's interesting, man, because you usually don't see something announced like that and then backtracked. You know, because don't they usually prepare these tweets and stuff and messages and ready for an announcement? You know, so.
I figure they're at least 3 months ahead or 3 months out. They have everything kind of like buttoned up and ready to go and in a queue. And last minute, I guess it was like, oh, somebody didn't cross all the T's and dot all the I's. So nope.
Yeah. Alvin hit us with a monster $20 super chat, dude. Alvin, you're amazing, bro. Appreciate you again. Thanks for the support. He says, funny thing, since I didn't start listening to gaming podcasts until Series X and S, I had no clue folks were unhappy with the Xbox One gen. I was gaming in bliss, LOL. Never parsed for first third party till now, but I get it. Yeah,
Mav, hold on real quick. You probably know because you were hanging around N4G back then, right?
Oh yeah, N4G was.
Wow, that was a blood bath, brother, in there. Holy cow. The articles that were going up about Xbox after their initial, reveal and Donnie D. Oh my God. All those articles, like every article, because anybody who doesn't know, N4G used to be a big aggregate site. I rarely go there now, but it used to be a big aggregate site. But even Mav wrote an article for there at one point. You could do that. But all the articles are rated by degrees of hotness, and like every single Xbox article was like 700 degrees and up. Like that's all it was, and it was all bashing Xbox. It was crazy.
It was bad. And the gaming podcast also, like the media podcast out there too, like we're all like not understanding or not behind what was going on. And so there was like this what happened? And I was still on board with a lot of the stuff that they had said, at the time. I understood that things were going digital right into the future. So I wasn't as concerned about that as a lot of people were. In fact, I was thinking in my mind is like, maybe this will save GameStop because they were actually trying to work on a solution where you could like install your physical disc and then not have to have it in the box.
Now we're finally getting all the TV shows that were promised 10 years ago.
But there was some ideas that they had that had some promise. That as a lazy guy, not wanting to get my ass up off the couch, I thought the benefit of buying disc and installing them and not having to keep them in the tray was I liked that, right?
Yeah.
I understood the fact of the license having to exchange it. The sharing games thing was a detriment, but I didn't never fucking let anybody share it. I would take one of my damn discs anyway.
Yeah.
Like if I give somebody a disc, it has a scratch on it when I get it back. I never share my disc, period. Flat out. No. Right. So I didn't really care about that whole game share issue. The always online thing too, I understood that it did affect some people as well. But like I kind of in my back of my mind, I always remembered like Xbox was the first ones to put that Ethernet on the box, right? And nobody had Ethernet back then either, and people were saying, "Why are you doing that?" But I felt like people's online was going to get better and better, and connections going to get better. More people were going to get online, and most games now, and even last generation, became always online anyway.
360 it was going that way anyway. So
yeah, so all these massive games. If you look at most of the big games now, like you got it. Most of them you have to have internet connection, right? So I wasn't as concerned about that because like Pong. Like I always look at things in the future. I kind of have like a forward mentality with this kind of stuff. I don't know where you stood on that at all, but I was always thinking about where things are going and what would be the best for the future, not the best for today, right? At the time,
I didn't even mind the Snap stuff, like because at the time I didn't have a PC, so like if I wanted to watch YouTube, I could watch YouTube on the side, like and also play a game. So it's like what I didn't like was the whole TV focus, and I didn't like the Kinect being bundled in. I thought those two things were huge mistakes.
I was totally against it. If you listen to Iron Lords, I learned long ago.
I know you said like everything they were talking about. You weren't.
Yeah, no, I was totally against it. I was totally against the online. Sure, I like to look into the future, but there was a lot of things that were, again, their messaging was so horrible, Mav.
Oh, it was 100%.
Yes.
They didn't know what the hell it was. Nobody could tell you anything about the way it was going to work. It was crazy. I remember that.
Had they had a better presentation,
yeah.
Had they figured out how to speak to gamers, because again, who's buying the console to hook your cable into it? Right, that's a great side feature. Like that's a quality of life thing, but nobody's buying your $500 console for that feature, and that's what they prominently went up there and said. And then when they tried to explain the DRM, and again, if you remember back then, again, looking forward in the future, of course, they were ahead of the curve. Of course, now here we are, and we can't play games if we're offline in a lot of cases, and the discs have no games on them. So yeah, we could have probably said, well, we should see that this is the future. But back then, DRM was already absolutely hated by the PC community, right? Absolutely like getting destroyed because they started doing that to the PC gamers, and it was screwing up all sorts of stuff. So that was already there. But the way they explained it, they did not present it as a benefit, only a benefit to themselves, not a benefit to the gamers.
Right.
Like everybody knew right away when they said that. Everybody came out and said, this is so you can't trade in your games. This is so that used games go away, right? Instantaneously. And back then, I was still heavy into trading in my games, right? I was still mostly physical back then. So for me,
I was for the physical people, it probably irritated. But I was digital towards the end of 360, so I was like,
but that's what I'm saying. But most gamers back then, I bet you it was still probably hovering around the 30% digital max range. So all of us in that boat were like, what are you talking about? And I think the biggest thing, again, outside of the message, I think messaging was the major problem.
That was the number one problem.
The way that Donnie D went about that the whole thing, like from the beginning, the moment he got on that stage to the interviews afterwards, right, was all wrong in how he was talking.
The problem, Pong, was because everybody wanted to know about the DRM and how it was going to work, right? Because that was the conversation that everybody had. And never one interview with any of the executives or anybody from Xbox did they come out with an actual answer to that question.
And then he poured gasoline on it with the interview where they asked him about the military folks and what they were going to do if they didn't have the internet. We got a console for you.
That was
the Xbox 360. Over with right there. That's the same arrogance that KhAos had when he went up there and launched the PS3 and said the generation doesn't start until we say it does. Oh, how are they going to, what about the price? Our customers will go get a second job. It was the same type of arrogance that Sony had the previous gen.
Didn't Sony say that again before the PS5 generation? They say we say when the generation starts?
Yeah, it wasn't as blatant as what KhAos did back then.
We believe in generations.
But again, I think that was the killer, Mav. There was just no way you could get up on stage and reveal a brand new gaming console coming off one of the best generations ever. Your second generation, the 360, you came out of nowhere due to the fact that Sony did their mistakes, and also because you solidified yourself with a lot of third-party exclusivity and making some shrewd moves with Gears and that kind of stuff, and obviously Halo being all the rage. You come off of that generation, and you come out to the reveal, and you make the gaming secondary to everything else. It's like, bro.
The funny thing is, though, the Xbox One generation, the best games are like the first 3 years of Xbox One. It's like,
Sure, they had a great launch lineup. There's no doubt, but they didn't want to talk about that. They wanted to talk about everything else but that. TV, Xbox on. Like, it was crazy. Yeah.
I'm sorry. They also didn't mention that doing all this digital stuff, they I think it was a few people interviews like a couple years later, they were talking that it was actually going to knock game prices down too. They never mentioned that at all. No, I was hearing like they were going to drop it down to like $50 to $40 per game.
Yeah, because it did.
And like,
right. They didn't say any of the benefits to us in saying KhAos. That was the whole thing. Like, they let everybody run. They let the internet and everybody else run wild with the narrative. Like, all this stuff that they're doing, including the Kinect constantly watching you, was all going to be for Microsoft's benefit. Like, they were going to be stealing all your information. They were going to be stealing live video of you in your house naked playing video games. They were going to do, remember the face capture and everything else? Because they started talking about how the Kinect could censor your internal, your skeleton.
It's going to be able to read your emotions in the future.
Yes, people were like freaking out back then. Because they did not present any of the benefits. Hey, this is why we're doing this for you gamers. This is, yes, it's going to have benefits to us, but listen, this is what it's going to give you. And this is how it's going to make your gaming experience better in our ecosystem. They didn't know how to talk about that at all. They fumbled.
This was the worst marketing era ever for Xbox. Like, they just had no direction 100%. It was like you didn't have a cohesive team there that had a singular vision. It was like you had Xbox and the leaders. Some of the leadership wanted to push the TV aspects, right? Thinking they're going to be the computer of the living room still, the original vision. This was for them finally fulfilling that, and they thought TV was more important than games, right?
Yes.
And to make that accomplishment. Now they still invested heavily in the games. They just didn't focus on that conversation. Right. And the other aspects of that, you had them talking a lot about the cloud at this time. Right, because they had just started a cloud with in the 360 at the end of the 360 with cloud saves and stuff like this. But remember they talked about the power of the cloud and start talking about like Crackdown 3, and it's going to be like the most amazing thing ever because like all the buildings and stuff are going to be because of the cloud and full destruction, all this kind of things. And they had these demo presentations and stuff. I remember being kind of excited about the potential of the future of that. I even went on to like GameSpot forums and stuff back in the day, and I was like, man, this cloud stuff seems pretty cool. And like, I remember people were like, oh, Xbox, you're an Xbox employee, you're fake, you're here on the forums, you work for Xbox, who the fuck cares about Xbox, and who the fuck cares about the cloud? You're using Xbox taglines like the power of the cloud and stuff, and I'm like,
meanwhile, PlayStation still holds your saves hostage if you don't pay them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And
all that stuff did excite me too, man. When they started talking about that, because that future stuff, I did see application for the games, and I was excited where they were talking about going with that as well. Again, it just
they didn't focus on the right things with the marketing aspect. They could have done everything they wanted to do with the TV stuff and everything else. If they had led the marketing properly at a gaming event, right? Yes. And that was the problems that they kind of had, right? If you want to go to like
internally too, and I was gonna say internally real quick too, Matt. Yeah. The thing is that you could tell where the focus was when the devs started talking about the hardware.
Yeah.
And then they started talking about how the Kinect was taking away some of the memory, some of the power from the console. That really said to the gamers, again, we're not talking about the masses. The masses heard about all this problems. Some of the masses did from us, from the hardcore. Mm-hmm. But when they started talking about that stuff, it was obvious that they weren't thinking about gaming first. It was a multimedia machine instead of a gaming console.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like necessarily Donnie's ego or whatever, but I feel like he was trying to like portray himself as like the Steve Jobs of Microsoft at that show. Yeah. It's like
correct. They were going to change everything.
You know what else happened around this time too was you had the real, I would say, massive surge of YouTube and content regarding gaming. Digital Foundry with those Xbox One launch titles. A lot of those games, you remember you had like 900p versus 1080p and all these conversations.
Blades of grass.
And stuff. So it became clear to the average consumer, PS4 is less, costs less. PS4 is more powerful. The games play better on PlayStation. And they just decided to go with PlayStation. It was like easy decision for a lot of people. For me, it was never that. I always played PlayStation and Xbox. And I was still excited about the next Halo and Fable Legends was on my mind and like still, or whatever they're going to do with the future of all these games and the next Gears and all these things. And I'm thinking about all that stuff. Forza and, you know, Forza Horizon had just become a thing now. We've got the new Forza Horizons. All these Titanfall. I was so damn excited for Titanfall and all this stuff, right? So for me, I never like even gave a second thought about abandoning Xbox. But I did have a lot of friends on 360 that when they got a new console, they didn't buy an Xbox One. I was trying to convince people, man, it's gonna be awesome. Don't worry about it. You know, there's still gonna be great things. They jumped ship with PS4, and guess what? I didn't hear from them for like 6 years. Coming up,
I will say though, with the launch of the Xbox One, like it had great games, but the overall console was like broken. I feel like for the first year, like Party Chat, I couldn't get Party Chat to work for the first year. We had to use Skype, like all our friends, like the built-in Skype shit. Yeah. Like a lot of stuff just didn't work. Halo Master Chief Collection, when that came out, was broken for like 5 years. So like there was a lot of broken stuff with the Xbox One, but it also had early on some of the great games like Dead Rising 3 or whatever, Sunset Overdrive, Titanfall, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, but that all stopped.
Yeah,
towards
for like 5 years.
Because
we're still going, I guess.
Xbox, I think at this point, if I'm not mistaken, Fuzz, because you were probably paying attention to this because you hated Microsoft still, was at that point they were still like debating, well, we fucked up. Do we want to like refresh this and rebrand and go back out and try again, or do we close this? Do we close this ship? You know, and I honestly think there was probably pretty close to going the other route.
Yeah. I mean, for me being a PlayStation cat at the time, looking at Xbox, the big thing that was like that glimmer of hope was like Sunset Overdrive, I think. And the fact that like when they, you know, leadership changed hands, Phil got in charge, and it was like within months, the Kinect was pulled out of the box. It was like, okay.
Yeah, originally he said he wasn't gonna be able to do it though.
Yeah.
So.
It just seemed like they were changing direction. So it was like, okay, well, it looks like they're back into the fight type of thing. But me being a PlayStation guy, for me looking at the PS4, it was like, okay, why didn't Gran Turismo 6 come out, you know, before the PS4 came out? Like that was dragged on for like forever. It seemed like they had prologue and all this other stuff, and it's like, oh, there's another Gran Turismo coming, and then it's like, okay, the PS4 comes out, and then the Gran Turismo comes out for PS3. I'm like, I'm not buying that on the last console. So what are y'all doing? And then there was the Drive Club, which was supposed to be a launch game. They delayed that for a year, and that kind of pissed me off. But it's like, you know, maybe they'll make it even better. You know, more time to polish, blah blah blah. And it comes out broken. It's supposed to be their first online racing game. I mean, other than like multiplayer, that I can't even remember if, I guess, yeah, I think Gran Turismo had the online multiplayer for the 5 prologue, but it was like, this game was built supposedly around, you know, being online racing, like leaderboards and all that stuff.
They spent all their time on the weather effects, Fuzz, which were amazing.
Well, they didn't even have the weather effects at launch. That was
at launch, no, but they were working on it, right? That's what they wanted to get out. But the rain, when it came, was really
it was awesome.
It was awesome.
But then it became annoying for me real quick because it was like it was supposed to be dynamic. I'm like, bullshit is dynamic. I do this race every time. It rains in the beginning and stops at the end, or it's not raining in the beginning and it stops at the end. Like it should change up every time I go to this track. And no, it was the exact same pattern each time. But it was like the thing was broken as far as online for a couple of months. So that's what made me look at Xbox. I'm like, okay, this was supposed to be a Forza killer. Let me go ahead and check out, you know, Forza Horizon 2, which I guess they made a 360 version and an Xbox One version, but the Xbox One version being open world, and yeah, everything wasn't breakable, but the fact that it was open world, like I don't have to stay on the road, I could just shortcut through the grass. That was like game changing for me as far as an arcade racer at the time. But it just seemed like Xbox was trying some different things. And yeah, I saw the whole TV video that everybody would make fun of Xbox, but I was like, I really want to play, Sunset Overdrive. Like that stood out to me. Dead Rising was another one. Like on the PlayStation side, we got Dead Rising 2. Like I really wanted Dead Rising 1, and I was like, how the hell? It's a third party. Why do they have it? And then, found out about, contractual things and all that stuff. So it's like, all right, PlayStation gets Dead Rising 2, but they had Dead Rising 3 at launch, and it looked amazing in comparison to the previous two. Rise was another one that looked amazing. And they tried to show some of the Kinect stuff for it, where you can make some commands. And then I think they had it in like the mobile app or whatever, because mobile phones were starting,
that was the whole
become more of a thing. But it just seemed like, for me, PlayStation wasn't holding up their end of the bargain. Like, yeah,
you got the Order 1886.
Well, that was such a short game. Like, value for me, if you're going to tell me this game can be finished in a couple of hours and you're charging full price, get out of my face. Like, no, I'm not. That should be like a demo or something at that point. Like, I mean, graphically it looked amazing and all that, but like when word got out that it was like a couple of hours, I'm like, I'm not paying full price on that. That should be like included in PS Plus, which they decided to charge for online.
Should have been like bundled in the console when you bought it or whatever.
Exactly. Like I came from the standpoint of, online's supposed to be free, because mainly being a PC guy and then going back to the PS3, it was like, oh yeah, online's free. Oh no, we're going to charge this generation. Like, get out of here with this nonsense. You're going to charge for PS Plus now because the other guys were charging all along, and now you figure you can get that revenue stream. So being a PlayStation guy, that was nonsense to me, but whatever. And there was the hope for like what's the other one from Control or from Remedy? Quantum Break. Yeah. It was like, although that went through a couple of reboots and stuff, like it seemed like it took like forever, but that was just like the nature of Remedy, I guess, for known for being or taking a long time with their games.
Alan Wake had the same thing.
Yeah, but that game looked awesome, and I was like, yeah, I'm getting an Xbox for Quantum Break, Sunset Overdrive. I missed out on getting the one in white, which that's fine. Like getting a Xbox One in white at that time was like near impossible. Yeah. Like if you didn't know somebody that worked at like GameStop, yeah, good luck type of thing. But yeah, Quantum Break, Sunset Overdrive, Forza Horizon 2, and then Rise was awesome. Dead Rising 3 was awesome to me. And that's what kind of hooked me, because being into racing games and their first party over at PlayStation, we didn't even get was it Gran Turismo Sport until 2017. Yeah. So it's like, how many years does it take you guys to make a damn game?
And that was half of a Gran Turismo, if that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Well, when it launched, it wasn't even really a half. It was like, oh, online only, which like that was the one drawback I had with Xbox for the beginning
so
of
you mean
Xbox
they stole
One
the whole
generation was
Xbox marketing DRM thing? Got it.
The thing was is that both consoles ended up doing it anyway.
Yeah, I know.
You know
exactly.
what I mean? You're on mute, Pong.
I said that Sony was going to do it at launch, but then they saw the reaction and they changed their entire show overnight to remove it all.
Yeah, they pulled the camera out of the box and all that.
I almost feel like Xbox and PlayStation had already talked about it, and like everybody was on the same page. And then like once they saw the reaction, PlayStation's like, "Well, we're not going to tell Xbox, so we're shifting goals, shifting sides here." And that was crazy time. But PlayStation had a weak ass launch lineup. To be honest.
Oh yeah,
their launch lineup was horrible. But I think because of the other factors that really started benefiting them, and they started killing Xbox in sales, then you had these other games start getting announced and stuff. Remember, like the E3 that they announced, like every gamer's wish, like at E3, even though it was like 5 years away. Like then you had Final Fantasy VII Remake get announced, which was been like that was like the #1 requested thing for like years. And you had like Shenmue 3 even got announced, which was like a load of horse shit at the end of the day, because it was like a Kickstarter game. showing up at their show, and they had all these different things, right? That they really put forward that what they knew the gamers wanted, right?
Have you want to know what caused the turnover? Because you're right, PlayStation started out with the bad lineup, but it was mostly indies. There was a ton of indies, which I was cool with, right? Because they were the company supporting indies. But
Journey, was it Resogun that came out?
Yep,
Resogun,
Resogun out the gate. Compulsion's Shadow Puppet game. God dang it, I always forget the name of it. But Compulsion's game, which was a complete indie title. All those Contrast. Thank you. Yes, that's it. A great game, by the way. But what really did it is because when everybody went to go get the consoles, even though they had a weak launch lineup, Call of Duty Ghosts was there, right? And all the friends had to be on the same platform, so everybody started buying PlayStations, right? That's what it was.
And
I
Destiny.
bought one for my kids so we could play together. And Destiny, correct?
The Destiny marketing rights were massive because that was Bungie's next game.
Yep.
Right, and it was cross-platform. Also but cross-gen. I mean, a game. It came out on
it was on
hardware
360
and new hardware. But they Destiny was the marketing rights behind that.
Yeah,
was huge because Bungie had always been associated with Xbox, right? And PlayStation came in and swooped in and got the marketing rights and put Destiny over everything, marketed the heck out of that. And
they were breaking promises left and right.
At this point,
it sounded like it was an exclusive.
At this point, you had diehard Halo fans abandon Xbox and go to PlayStation because they wanted Bungie's next game.
Yeah.
So
sacrilege.
It's crazy. I was like, "What are you guys doing? Stay with me on Xbox Live. Let's play some games." But no, everybody's leaving. And it was
Watch Dogs was another big one that they marketed heavily. Even though it wasn't exclusive, but they had the marketing rights, and with that game, even though it was, the graphics weren't quite the same when it released, that was like a big, it's associated with PlayStation because they have the marketing rights, and this game looks like it's really next gen.
And you had all these PlayStation is better, Xbox sucks, then the whole Xbox has no games thing started. Especially late in the Xbox One generation or middle of the Xbox One generation, I would say. Because they started turning things around when Phil took over. It took him a while. He came out on stage, and this is where we're gonna start getting to Xbox Present. I will associate Xbox Present as the Phil Spencer era. Okay, Phil Spencer took over, and he's like, "All right, what are we gonna do? I'm the head of Xbox. I was just named the head of Xbox, and holy shit, this is a burning dumpster fire. What am I gonna do? This thing is going down in flames. First off, I got to figure out how I can convince Microsoft
to fuck this Kinect out of
to
here.
not have me be the man that closes down Xbox. Second off, I got to see what we need to do to turn this thing around, right? So I feel like part of it was convincing them to let us stick around. Now he took over probably 2014,
like 2 years in or something like that. Yeah.
It's like 14, 15 going into 15.
Something like that, right? So he had came in and they were still in that, and he had to do shit that I'm sure he didn't want to do. The closing line head, I think, was one of them. They had, but then they started to get some traction at the point when they started talking about the 1X. This is when things started turning around for Xbox for me, because all of a sudden the conversation around Xbox became, this is going to be Phil's Xbox. This is going to win the power narrative.
Came gamers again.
Putting gamers first, right?
Yes.
Putting the gamers at the center of what we do. Talking about, they started talking about their games again in a way about how important they are to the brand and everything. And now the investment behind Microsoft into this wasn't 100% there yet, I will say, right? Not even close. But I feel like that Xbox One, when it came out, it sold pretty well, right? You had some excitement again about the brand. You had some games
Xbox
coming
One X
out.
or Xbox One?
1X, yeah. You started having people be like, this ain't so bad, and started playing some of these Xbox exclusive games. You had Gears 5, came out towards the end of the generation. You had You know, Forza Horizon 4 had come out.
Sea of Thieves took off.
Started taking off, you know. So you had these franchises and stuff starting to take off a little bit. And then Game Pass, right? So at some point, some people say it was Satya Nadella's idea because
then COVID hit and we're fucked again.
Yeah. And some people say it's Satya's idea because they like subscriptions. Some say it's Phil's idea. Who knows exactly whose original idea Game Pass was, right?
Game Pass, according to the reports, was already in the wheelhouse. They had put it together, but it had been shelved for a while. And then Phil resurrected it as part of the pitch to Satya, because he thought that was his way out. Because again, when he went into Satya, he knew he had to present it. They couldn't keep doing the same thing, and Satya was all about Azure servers. And so when he presented Game Pass and talked about hosting all these games, and they were going to have the subscription service, and it was all going to run through Azure, that's supposedly when it clicked for Satya that there was something here.
So I feel like at that point, this is probably like 2-3 years into Phil Spencer era. You have all these things coincided. You have the 1X releases, you know, you have Game Pass launches, and then you have announcements of studio acquisitions, right? And it's like Xbox is building itself back up again. Got Obsidian, who was a part of that first batch of the studio? Obsidian,
Double Fine.
Yeah, Double Fine. You had Compulsion,
In Exile.
In Exile.
I think Mojang was like right before that.
Ninja Theory.
Yeah, they had purchased Minecraft before then, right? Yep.
So all of these things started happening, and it's like, okay, we're starting to build some excitement here, right? A lot of these studios already had projects that they had to work on and finish. So enter in Game Pass, and that really changes things in a big way, right? Especially when you start putting their first party games day one. All of a sudden, oh, what? I get Gears 5 there right away. I get Forza right away. You know what I mean? I get this, I get that. You know, it's like, okay, shit, I'm saving money. And then Game Pass evolves. You start having day one indie games pop in there. Then all of a sudden, the last couple of years, you start having day one
bangers,
AAA games, even former PlayStation exclusive games sometimes show up in there. It's like, what's going on in this industry right now? It's crazy. But everything coincided, I think, with the announcement of the Series X, along with also more of those studio acquisitions. And then you had that E3 where they showcased like 5 new games coming exclusively to Xbox. Now, I gotta still say, for me right now, Xbox Present is still dealing with ghosts of Xbox Past, right? Because, be honest with you guys, there's the 2022 not having any first party games isn't only the fault of game delays and COVID and the pandemic and all this stuff. It's Xbox's fault for fucking off for so long back in the Xbox One generation. It's for them not knowing what they're doing for so damn long. Because they, at that point, they could have played Sony's games still. They did it in the Xbox generation. They did it in the 360 generation. At some point, they decided to stop, right?
But that's also like maybe Phil's weakness is he doesn't like necessarily.
Remember that conversation was like, Phil's too nice, guy. You were Phil's too nice, right? And that we're actually dealing with some of the effects right now from that, honestly. I mean, they could have been more ruthless at that point. They decided 2 things. They don't like doing big AAA IPs that everybody loves and making them exclusive anymore, right? They also decided that they didn't, unless they own it, unless they own it, right? They came out and they said, we only want to really invest in the properties that we own, right? So those decisions led them to stop doing as many big third-party deals. That's just the way it is. And that, as Xbox, we're still dealing with that. PlayStation's kept most of the studios going all along. They're still working on games and all this stuff. So that's why they had a year like they did this year, right? With 3 pretty damn big releases. But next year's Xbox's year, I think, to finally get that momentum going from all of the acquisitions. So we're still feeling that past affecting our present right now. But I feel like the present is in a good place, right? Record numbers for Xbox. They have changed the market share gap this generation, where it was like ridiculously over last generation ended up being like almost 3-1.
4-1, 3-1, yeah.
For a long time, it was 4-1, 5-1. They started catching up towards the end, right? Started catching up towards the end. A lot of people started buying Xboxes that didn't have one. I think it ended up at like 2.5 to 1 or something like that. Something ridiculous. Like it's like 115 to like 50 mil, right? But now it's like 60-40 this generation, right? So they did something right. And this was without a lot of first-party games. So Xbox present to me is still, for what it's worth, doesn't have a lot of big AAA first-party exclusive games. Its main attraction right now is Game Pass and the hardware, right? And then the promise of the future. That promise keeps getting pushed back. It has been pushed back for a long time.
But I could also see that maybe their promise of the future could also be Xbox, like the console itself's downfall. Because I think they're pushing themselves more out of the console market by going towards PC and mobile and cloud and all that stuff. So I think Xbox would probably be one of the first ones to maybe jump out of the console market.
But they've come on to say that they're going to still make consoles for a long time.
Yeah, I know. It's just, it probably won't, like, it could just be like a box that connects to the internet. It may not be like any hardware.
You think so? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I honestly think there's always going to make a box for the enthusiasts, right? They just know that they're not going to sell as many. And for them,
I'm talking like long way down the future, maybe like 15, 20 years.
Yeah, well, at that point,
like
at that point, it's not going to matter, right?
Yeah,
I think what we got to worry about is
the controller at
10 years ahead. 10 years
TV.
ahead is all we got to think about right now, because that's a long time in gaming, a long time with hardware. So where do y'all, I want to know, like, how do y'all feel about where Xbox is right now today? Because we're coming off of 2022, which was, for me, still a good year, but first party wise, game wise, not the best, obviously.
I mean, it's honestly probably the worst year for Xbox, though.
There was one other year, maybe was it 2019? Was it 2020? 2020 had like, what did 2020 have for first party games?
I mean, I know you had DLC for Horizon 4. You had, I think, you had the DLC for, or the Hivebusters DLC. I want to say,
because didn't they have like no launch lineup games for the Series X, like first party? Like,
they had
it was mainly
Ori
like
in the Will of the
updates.
Wisp. I mean, that was
Ori.
their big indie thing, but
when did
Gears Tactics was on PC.
Insane Cakes, you can jump in anytime too, brother. Don't worry. It's open for them.
Yeah, this is open.
I haven't heard your voice in a while.
I'm trying to think. It's difficult to say because over the last couple of years, it's more of a build up, like the acquisitions and stuff, and you have to think that as they're buying them, all these companies, they got to slow up and like deal with Microsoft as they're making the games, whatever they got to change for whatever Microsoft wants with them. So that's slowing things up, which is caught a bunch of companies up in like a little bit of a pause, I guess, for this year. This is that pause year. So I think that's why we're kind of at like a little bit of a standstill. However, I think Xbox's Game Pass is holding it up a lot. And you said 2020 might have been a bad year. As far as games go, like sales and like buying Game Pass and consoles is actually really good for gaming.
They sold like Xbox sold a lot of consoles, right? At that time, right? I mean, they did good out of the gate, right? You couldn't get one. You know what I mean? Like, it was fantastic. And that Game Pass, you started having all these third-party deals started happening, and it's like, okay, this is awesome. You know what I mean? Game Pass, PC Game Pass takes on, also becomes part of the ecosystem. You have EA Play get into the fold as well. And it's like, okay, this is another benefit. This is amazing. You know, we had all these conversations on our shows, and it's like, wow, this stuff is incredible. You know, so we're not like, no, there's not like nothing to play. We've been happy. You know what I mean? But that conversation that still haunted them ever since that middle of Xbox One generation going into today still. Because if you look at the amount of first party games released by Sony compared to the amount of first party games released by Xbox in that same time span, at least I don't know if there's the same amount or what, but it just comes from an outside perspective. People just look at it and say that PlayStation has more. I don't know the numbers. Maybe Xbox has more. But
I think they're even, with the exception of the ones on Xbox. Some of them were released as multi-plat. So that's where the problem was, where the studios they own were releasing games. It's just that they weren't necessarily only on the Xbox platform. So it becomes imbalanced based on exclusivity. But I think the output was similar, just some of it was more so DLC or expansions as well. Versus a game that may have been a smaller title type of thing.
Well, PlayStation also doubled down on their exclusivity policy. You know, like what they used to do, they went even harder on it. You know, Square Enix deals. You know,
I think they went the smart route, whereas Xbox didn't necessarily double down on going for those deals. PlayStation right now, they're trying to build up their stuff, but while they're building it up, they're also going for those deals, so they still look.
And I'm not a
good.
huge fan of those deals either, right? However, if your competition's taking games off of your platform, you got to give it back to them, right? And they didn't do that. You know what I mean? So that was something that I felt like hurt Xbox a little bit. Bethesda games, you know, they owned Bethesda at that point. They had bought Bethesda, acquired it. Massive announcement. Holy crap. We could not believe when that happened. It was like, what? Xbox got Bethesda? Oh my God. But wait, they got Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop are still going to be PlayStation exclusives? What? You know, it was crazy for a year each, right? We still don't have Ghostwire Tokyo on Xbox yet. You know what I mean? And because PlayStation was doing these deals, right? So Xbox could have been a little bit more ruthless for the time and still kept with their long-term vision, right? Just to be more competitive in the marketplace in the moment, you know? But I feel like we're on the right track now because we all thought that this was going to be the year that the avalanche is going to start. Maybe it's 2023. And if it does start, there's no stopping it, really, you know? So they have too much stuff in the works. So now we've talked about present.
FTC is going to stop it.
The present has, for me, the present has fixed the issues of the past for the most part. Like, you got the hardware right. You have something that competition can't offer. You have a major benefit with Game Pass, right? So you have that. You have the best value in gaming, period, bar none. You have the best ecosystem as far as accessibility and all these things as well. Well, all they're missing, there's only one thing.
TV.
Yes, let's go. Let's get back into the TV game. Yeah, Donnie D, come back in and fill up that TV gap because we're sorely... No. The only thing missing is the steady... And I'm not saying they don't have games. Obviously, we all enjoy a lot of the Xbox games. It's the steady, consistent flow of the first party games that are behind that Xbox brand, right? You still have exclusives, you still have random stuff, you still have Game Pass deals, all these things. They're amazing. They draw people in. But nothing draws people into an ecosystem like a game like a Halo or like a Gears or a Forza or a Fable, a Perfect Dark, a Starfield, you know, all these things, right? So and it's interesting here because we have somebody that actually works for Bethesda, which is the Xbox owned studio that's making multi-platform content. Because, I mean, because you know, Elder Scrolls Online is a multi-platform game, right? So there's an interesting future here, I think, and Xbox future is bright. would you, based on what you know in saying cakes, you can't tell us any details. No. Obviously, you can't tell any details at all.
What's the next expansion to ESO?
And I know you make multi, like, well, I don't know exactly what I know you animate, right? But I don't know if you have to do things specifically for PlayStation or for Xbox or whatever. But Elder Scrolls Online is a multi-platform title, right?
Yes.
So, but Bethesda is owned by Xbox, Microsoft. Are you excited for the future based on what you know?
Okay, I'm waiting to answer the future part of this. All right. Yeah. All right. This is everything I'm about to say. My opinion. Nothing involved with ZeniMax, and I'm not going to reveal anything. I know what to say for this. So, as an unbiased opinion, like even though I do work for Xbox, I see it starting with Redfall and Starfield being the start of the yearly repeating of games. I think we're at the beginning of a new era for Xbox. I think we're going to be able to forget that ghost of Xbox past. I've never been more proud to be working for Xbox. Not trying to kiss their ass if they hear about this, but I've never been more proud of it. I see nothing but an amazing future going from here on out. Starfield's going to be an amazing game. Redfall is going to be an amazing game. I love everything that I'm doing and seeing, because it's going to be outstanding. And I think you guys are going to be very happy with that. But the buildup of just all these games, I like. You're gonna see it year after year, just releases hopefully, and it's gonna be a good time for Xbox, more than PlayStation, in my opinion.
Insane. Wow. Let me ask you this real quick: are we, from your perspective, are the studios fully past the whole pandemic thing? Are we back to ramped up normal?
I don't really know, because I also got into the industry during.
But have you seen a change since we've gotten kind of past the bad at worst part?
Do you work remote, or do a lot of people that still work remote there, or have they kind of?
I mostly work remote. I'm going to say that.
Okay.
I don't
want to get you in trouble. I don't want to get you in trouble and saying I was asking just a general question because I just want to know your thoughts from being there during the pandy to now if things were better. That's all.
Yeah, I'm gonna not.
Don't.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. Understood. Nope, not putting pressure on you.
So I do have another question. So, because you're more familiar with the Bethesda side and stuff, like, how much do you think was added to the Xbox ecosystem because of what the future of Bethesda is, not just Xbox? Because there's rumors. I mean, you can't say. I know you can't say what you're working on, right? But there was rumors that come around about, and ZeniMax Online has said themselves they're working on a new game, right? So there's a thing out there. You can't tell us anything about that, but we know about that. We know Roundhouse is working on a new game that has not been made public at all, but they did say that at the roundtable at Bethesda introduction, right? You have Tango Gameworks also is working on a new game. John Johannes is the director of that. You can't tell us what that is. Again, I know that. There was rumors that ZeniMax Online may even have 2 other projects they're working on besides the one. Don't know about that. You have the main Bethesda team. Todd's already talking about soon after they're done with Starfield, they're going to ramp up production on Elder Scrolls 6. Jeez, who else is there? I mean, you got, am I missing any studios? Machine Games. We don't know what they're working on.
We do, Indiana Jones.
Well, but there was supposed to be Wolfenstein 3 also.
Maybe.
Which nobody, keep a straight face, man. I'm not trying to get you in trouble. Put your head down if you need to, because sometimes 3-bit smiles too much when I get onto something, right? So then we got id as well.
They haven't put anything out.
They haven't put anything out either. So I feel like out of most of the studios out there, what I feel like is we're set for not only an avalanche of announcements from Xbox side, from what they had already had and acquired, we're set for an amazing time of Bethesda announcements. I don't know. I don't know when that's going to happen. I know you can't say anything.
Yeah, that's a tough one to answer. Ooh.
You're excited? I'm just going to ask: are you excited about Bethesda's?
I'm excited for Xbox in general.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, I don't want
to. You keep how you need to do it, man. We're not trying to put anything on you. We just have a good time.
I'm not telling 3-bit, anything. So. Sorry, people. Some of them are like, "Oh,
yeah, he's getting squirmy." No, don't pay attention to the chat. They'll try and get you to say stuff. No, you don't need to say anything. I'm just trying to ask general questions, but about the enthusiasm. But around the team, right? Like,
wait, when the fuck did Psychonauts get in here?
Oh, Psycho! I forgot. What's up, Psycho? How's it going, man?
So, sorry. Hi, Psycho. Hi. Man, it's just a very good thing that Xbox bought ZeniMax, in my official opinion.
Yeah,
and it's going to be great for Xbox's future.
Right.
Fair enough.
Cool.
That's probably as much as I can say.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's enough, man. Welcome to the show, Psycho. You got your internet back up?
Insane Case, no. What's Todd Howard like?
I haven't met him.
Oh, you haven't met him yet? Okay, all right.
You're supposed to say we hang out every weekend.
Yeah, they do backgammon every weekend.
Listen, if it's any consolation too, is like I used to be a way more PlayStation fan, and I'm saying that Xbox is.
When did you start getting on board here?
When Xbox bought
shortly after PS5 came out, the announcements and the upbringing for PS5, it was just like it didn't excite me. It's now more of a I have to buy a PS5 rather than I want to buy a PS5, and that's why it's just like nah. Yeah, so that's before I joined ZeniMax. I've been going on to the Xbox side. So
yeah. I was gonna ask something stupid. I know that he can't answer that question, so never mind.
There's plenty of those.
There's like a million. But I got to be careful here too, because I don't want to put any pressure to make you uncomfortable. But
Insane Cakes, do you like drinking during podcasts like 3-bit? Because that's always a good thing.
I've already had a couple beers, man. So
oh, okay, all right, cool, all right. Keep those flowing.
Dude, so when I was in the Navy, man, you can't.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Man, so I'm really excited. Hi. Yeah, hi, it's Psycho. Welcome to the show, man.
All right, this is good to be here. Finally.
Just in time for outros. Way to go, Psycho.
No, see now, listen. I was listening. I was, good internet. I broke it down to it was my Ethernet cable that got fried. So getting a new one, should be here by Sunday, I think.
Yeah, but those don't make good pipes, Psycho.
No,
I know you think you can make pipes out of anything, but not Ethernet cables. Okay.
I know. I try to be a MacGyver, but but I'm listening to you guys in the car, and I'm like Mav just blows over the huge announcements from Xbox and during the Phil Spencer era. In 2015, we get announced backward compatibility to 360 games. And then in 2016, then we get the Xbox One S, and then Gears 4. Scalebound was that announcement. Titanfall 2.
Oh, that's
Dead
not
Rising
a good
4.
Thing.
Yeah. Killer Instinct, and all Halo Wars 2.
Killer Instinct was a launch Xbox One game, right? So,
well, Killer Instinct, I think, was it 3 or just the season 3?
They did Killer Instinct Classic was a
there
was Killer Instinct. It was the new game that was the launch title. Yes. But then they went back and did Killer Instinct Classic and
Yeah, when they did that with like a new
something.
season or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then 2017, and that was 2016. What I just said. 2017, they announced the Project Scorpio and Xbox OG Xbox back compat. So like once like Phil took over, you just saw an uptick in everything positive towards gaming for Xbox and what made Xbox great. Phil installed that back into the company and back into the brand, and that's why a lot of people like Phil, because he turned Xbox around for the positive, and he has not stopped since.
Yeah.
And once this ABK deal is done and over with, and once this generation's done, and then I think he might bow out after the new generation, like,
Yeah.
kind of like a year or two in, just to make sure it's on the right path. Let whoever take over have the groundworks ready just to keep on
And that's
chugging.
when Donnie D reapplies to
No.
be head of
No.
Xbox.
The interesting
No.
thing about the ABK deal too, though, Psycho, for me, I think like that's more bigger for them with their grander plans, but just out of the
bigger
Xbox,
Microsoft deal, not
on the
Xbox
the Xbox alone side as well, I feel like they don't necessarily 100% need ABK for that.
No.
But it'll be a nice bonus. Obviously, these games not to have to be in Game Pass, but to be able to get them in Game Pass. But I think even if they don't close that deal, which I think they're going to, even if they don't close that deal, I mean, I think you're still going to have this trend going, right, of Xbox and investment into gaming. And some people are saying no, but I doubt that highly.
I mean, I think it's the big thing for Xbox is it makes them self-sustainable because they'll have 20 plus extra studios where they can just make their own shit and they won't have to rely on third party anything.
Yeah. And that was the one thing out of the ABK is you have the 10,000 devs working, so you have the resources for people that actually know how to make games, and the amount of IPs that Activision has. That alone, not including the mobile side and the PC side, is worth Activision acquiring them. So, and then you add in the PC side with Blizzard, and they got 10 studios. They have 10 studios in house, but they're just under the one umbrella as Blizzard. And they could go back and focus on other titles, bringing back like a Warcraft or StarCraft Ghost 3 or
that's the dream. That's
or not StarCraft Ghost. StarCraft Ghost is what I would love, but StarCraft 3, sorry, and things like that. That is like a positive, and then the BattleNet implemented for the PC side, because what Xbox has is garbage. So that once you get that going, that will soon get then you get a lot more PC side, and then whatever kind of deal there's going to be something going on between Valve and Microsoft on the PC side. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but something's going to materialize. There's too many inklings going on that you were seeing, like the positive remarks by
Uncle Gabe,
and he was never positive about Xbox even when he was working for Microsoft. He was never positive.
Yeah,
so,
he left on a bad note.
So with him,
that relationship. So
yeah, and so we're seeing an uptick with a good positive relationship coming out of that. So whatever that is, Game Pass going into Steam, and then possibly a Steam app going to Xbox PC. That would be, to me, that would be huge.
Yeah.
And then you have the mobile side that they want to get into, and then then they do the Game Pass Mobile,
which speaking of Game Pass Mobile, huge news from the EU actually, and iOS is going to be allowing third-party app stores on their ecosystem.
Oh,
yeah.
Funny how that's okay now, but yeah. So they're with that with King, and we had just a handful of mobile stuff throughout the years, with Spartan Assault and the other Halo game.
Spartan Strike.
Yeah, you had Gears
Yeah,
Pop,
Gears
you had,
Pop,
you had
Minecraft.
Forza
Pop.
Street. I think Minecraft is probably the really only like really successful mobile title.
Yeah, and
well, they had a
but then-
Minecraft only mobile game that failed that was out for like 6 months.
It was
and
so
then
bad.
you have
Yeah.
all the Game Pass games that are touch control that you could put into the mobile app because now they're touch control, and so you get big titles. I mean, I think I forget which. A lot of games. I mean, Vampire Survivors touch.
I think Sea of Thieves had it or got
Sea
it.
of Thieves. I know Dragon Quest.
Forza, as
11
well as
Definitive
Flight
Edition
Sim
was
are
in there.
all
Yeah.
touch
There's
control as well.
big titles that are playable through the cloud, and if you market that as mobile, holy shit, then people are like, holy shit, I'm getting console level games.
Yeah, but you have to be
mobile.
careful with that market because some people be like, "You're just giving us fucking mobile games on Xbox at this point." Like, so you have to be careful how you market it.
Well,
Well, I think-
but it's if it's just touch controls, then it's the console game with touch controls that is available through the mobile
Yeah, I'm just
app.
saying that some certain person that only plays mobile stuff can see that and be like, Xbox fucking sucks. They just sell mobile games where I can go to PlayStation and get like actual AAA shit, you know? So like you have to be careful how you market that.
Well, I mean, then they will have to ignore Game Pass for console and PC and be like, oh, that doesn't count because I only see mobile games. I mean, if they put the two that notion together, then they just need to stick on whatever they're doing. But you know,
Isn't Call of Duty Mobile going away for the full version with touch controls?
Call of Duty Warzone Mobile is going to come out. But Call of Duty Mobile, the other one is run by Tencent, so I would assume that's going to still keep going.
Is Elder Scrolls Online available with any mobile platforms?
Not that I know of. Just can you even do it through Xbox Game Pass on the phone? I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't. It's in Game Pass, so you can play like I think you can play every Game Pass game on.
You could stream it, but you'd have to play it with a controller. There's no like touch stuff.
You could like a key.
You have to play the touch controls only on. Because I could play touch. I can play like I was playing Dragon Quest 11.
Wasn't that the announcement this week that Elder Scrolls Online just came back to cloud? I think that was the announcement.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in the app right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's on cloud. Yeah.
So you get Persona 5 Royale, Vampire Survivor, Among Us, Overcooked, Hello Neighbor 2, Pentiment, bigger ones, Amnesia, Scorn. This is all touch. Slime Rancher 2.
I don't use the Game Pass app, so on the phone, I couldn't tell you what's on there.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey,
for Elder Scrolls.
Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, the Immortal Phoenix Rising, Commando. So I mean, you get the idea.
Yeah.
These big titles are touch control, and they could easily just stuck those right into the mobile aspect, and then people like console game touch controls. What? You know what I mean? And because they really don't emphasize touch controls too much.
I don't like them because my fat thumbs take up half the screen, so I can't see what's in front of me when I'm using touch controls. But that's just me.
And the best like phone that would be like I think Jez has it. It's the
Fold
Surface Duo, which kind of looks like what is the old with the 2DS.
Yeah, but it's not a very
Flip.
popular phone, though. You know what I mean? I think really for it to take off, you got to worry about iOS, like just a Apple phone.
But that is
Galaxy.
But when people are looking at certain things, you know, that's just a phone that you can get two screens. You can have your normal screen for playing your games, and then your other screen for touch. But some games are really okay with the touch controls. Others are like, what the fuck? It is there's so many buttons on the screen.
I'll be honest, I'm just gonna pack a controller like in a backpack or some shit at that point.
Or a Kishi.
Yeah.
Or a Kishi, and there you go. And then mobile playing. So they can really, once this deal goes through, the mobile side can really explode and ramp up that side that they really want to get into.
Yeah.
And kind
I just don't
stick it to
100% care about that as much from the Xbox side. You know what I mean? It's cool. I understand it's like, that's a huge deal and it's going to mean big business for them. But like
for us, because we're traditional gamers, but when like, you know, like my 12-year-old or my 6-year-old daughter, you know, they're sitting there on their tablets, they're playing.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a huge deal
to them. This thing that's awesome.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna play Roblox at the end of the day on fucking phones.
I keep saying you want to dive in, Pong.
No. I'm just impressed by Psycho saving up 2 hours of airtime to come on the show like a bull in a china shop, blow by all of our topics and move right to ABK. I mean, it's
and
impressive.
He's gone.
And he's gone.
That's funny.
No, I was just impressed by Psycho's stream of consciousness that he was doing right there.
I think it's his like zombie driving mode. I think he was probably driving.
That's what I'm saying.
And
it's like he had that prepped all the way home. Like
Yeah.
he was listening to us and just prepping what he was
the 2
say.
hours he was thinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Psycho.
I don't know what the fuck happened. So
Yeah.
here we go.
No, they cut you off.
Yeah.
You're over your data cap with that talk that you just put on.
We started talking about like all the games. They started listing like 30 games that have touch
I
controls.
know. That's what I'm
Like,
saying.
yeah, cool, man.
You just took the entire flow of the topic we had and just went,
Let's talk about.
Well, I don't know what you guys were talking about.
Let's talk about.
you said you were listening to us.
Let's talk about touch controls for 20 minutes. Let's go. Oh, you're awesome, dude. Wouldn't have it any other
amazing.
way. Yeah, but like, so getting back on track.
Where were we? We were just at the beginning of the Series X conversation.
We were drilling Insane Cakes for information.
Yes, we were there
weren't.
too.
But
pause.
What I want to ask again, I want to ask you, Insane Cakes, like what specifically has you most excited for the future of Xbox?
Ooh.
Is it the tech, or is it like the lineup of games, or is it like the fact of the support from Xbox? You know what I mean? Like, because you see these things from a little bit of a different perspective.
To me, so I don't think it's so much the tech anymore, as far as like the console itself.
Yeah, we heard about how much that Xbox dev kit sucks. So, you know,
I don't know anything about that. Honestly, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, you animate. So
I animate. I don't deal with that. That's not me. But no, I think it is the companies and the lineup. Like I really think Starfield and Redfall are gonna be like the biggest step, the next biggest step, and you're gonna see a lot coming from those.
Yeah.
From
is
those
Starfield
games.
60 frames? I'm just kidding. No, I can't ask you that.
I don't know. I don't even know.
Yeah,
Like,
I know you wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know that.
Answer.
No, you wouldn't know that. But yeah, that's cool, man. I think that I sense the excitement when you were talking earlier. You know what I mean? Like, which is good. Knowing to somebody that works with the teams is excited also.
Yeah. But it's. I really wish I could. I really wish I could tell you like everything I know.
Yeah.
But
3-Bit's been the same way. He's like,
you could just share your computer screen when you're working with us in the Zoom call. And just...
I love my job more than telling you guys all this. I'm sorry.
How dare you, Insane Cakes? How dare you?
Do you sense like from the team? Do you sense like a positive like attitude going forward? Like right now, is it like a good culture? You know what I mean? Like where people are like pumped for what's going on.
It's a great culture. I can't say if they're pumped or not for anything going on.
Okay.
But it's a great culture and the company is absolutely pumped. I'm pumped to working with them. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's good.
Is Microsoft a great company to work for?
Microsoft is a great company to work for.
Yeah, I heard that that's not true because like HR votes are like fake and stuff. You remember that, Pong? Like that goes. Those polls that are out there. There's all these awards that they get for great workplace environments. They don't actually matter because they're just like they're just made up. That's what somebody said to us. I can't remember who that was.
Somebody that works HR, which we all know HR is for the company and not the employee, but that's a whole nother story.
Mm-hmm. I love working for ZeniMax. I hope to stay there as long as I physically can, mentally can. Great company, absolutely my favorite job, period. And I've had some really good jobs too, and some really bad jobs. This is by far outbeats all of them.
Yeah, so, that's cool, man.
Morrowind's my favorite game, by the way.
Morrowind's a very good one. I started with Oblivion, but I didn't beat it, and then I went into the Navy shortly after I got it, so I ended up selling a lot of my stuff in that of it. Unfortunately, Oblivion was one of them, and then I ended up getting into Skyrim, and that was huge for me into all of ZeniMax stuff.
So does the Bethesda team have, or ZeniMax team or Bethesda team, is there a lot of cross conversations between other Xbox studios? Like do they discuss things, share technologies and stuff like that? Is that something I can ask? I don't even know.
Yeah, I can't answer that.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so
Insane. Wait, real quick before we get off Insane Kinks, and we'll take the spotlight away from you, brother.
Yeah,
I
want to keep them there as long as I can.
Do they have a suggestion box at ZeniMax Online anywhere?
I mean, you could probably just email them, and I'm pretty sure.
Well, no, I was just meaning an internal one, because from the outside it doesn't get the notice. Listen, we need to be able to transfer characters from ESO from another platform. We need to have that option. We don't have that option right now. It's the only reason why I don't play ESO right now.
I can't take my PlayStation.
Yeah,
I
need that. I need that ability. I hit one of your bosses up on Twitter one day.
That's not something I can answer. I could.
No, I'm not asking you a question.
I could take it. I could take it to.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If they have a suggestion box, please.
Yeah, I could take that to somebody, but I don't know where it's going to go from there. So
Pong once is like 1,500 hours back.
It's the only reason why I don't play it. Otherwise, I'd be all over ESO. I was a premium member on PlayStation. All I want is my character, and I'd be back. But I'm not, because I don't want to start over from scratch.
Can you rant about this and take all of your frustrations out on Insane Cakes?
No, I'm not going to. Because it's not Insane Cakes' fault. He just started during the pandy, and he's an animator, so I'm not going to rant on him. I was just asking if they had an internal suggestion box that he could pop that into.
I could see about that.
Send it on up the food chain, my friend.
Again, there's a lot I can't talk about.
No. Insane. We don't want you to. We don't want you to. We don't mean to put the spotlight on you if you hate it or whatever. It's just cool to have somebody that has the experience. That's all. That's all.
I'm cool with it, man. It's funny. I joke around and stuff like that. I know what I can and can't say. It's just oh man.
So has a new Doom coming along.
Is there so what is your most excited game for that's not a Bethesda ZeniMax game?
Okay, it's not a Bethesda
from Xbox, like from one of the Xbox other teams. Like I know you don't know what's going on behind the scenes with any of those studios, but like out of the games that were announced, you got Perfect Dark, you got Fable, you got Forza Motorsport, you got Contraband. Is not technically first party developed, but it's first party published.
Fallout New Vegas too.
That's not been announced yet. Psycho.
Fable.
You can talk about that.
I'm excited for Fable because back when 3-Bit was doing his podcast, I was on there when they announced that. I think that was the Game Awards too, and I freaked out. I thought that was gonna be awesome. I'm a big Fable fan. Like 3 is the only one that I thought was like okay, but 1 and 2 I love. So I'm pumped.
1 and 2 are phenomenal.
The future is bright. It is so bright. It's been a long wait to get to this point. We thought, again, a lot of us thought this year was going to be the second half. We thought the second half of this year was going to be the start of this new era, as you called it, right? Mm-hmm. And I think now early 2023 is supposed to be the new start of this new era.
So talking about like eras like that, everybody likes to think it goes along with the consoles. It doesn't go along with the consoles.
Yeah.
The era of games goes along much like the economy does. So like there's a big crash, that games will get inflated, and then super play with a bunch of crazy random games. There's too many to play, and then there's crash, and then everybody will downsize. You've seen it in the past before, and we are at the beginning of one. I think we had a bigger crash like 2017-ish years. So we're kind of in the middle of it, about to go back up again, right in the perfect sweet spot to hit a lot of those games. Yes. So
we're already seeing it with the launch lineup of all the third parties for 2023. Not launch lineup, but for the 2023 lineup of a lot of third party companies too, right? So it's insane looking ahead at 2023, and I'm wondering if there's another game that they're going to announce for 2023 from Xbox first party. We'll see if that happens, because right now they got 3. They got
Is it in the 12 months?
Well, they got 4 actually, because they got Minecraft Legends. They got 5 if you count 6.
Well, 6. Well, 8.
6. Isn't there so they got Minecraft Legends. They got Forza Motorsport. They got Redfall. They got Starfield. Then they got Age 2 on console.
Age 4.
Then they got Age 4 on console. So that's 6. I saw you talking about this
Aura.
with Colt on Twitter, Pong. You counted 8, right? So
yeah, I said that we ultimately could wind up with 8.
If there's one more announced for the fall. But what's the 7th one? Is it Aura? Is that the...
Yeah, Aura, Minecraft Legends.
Does Aura come into consoles or still? I thought that
was it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Right.
It's coming to consoles. Yep. That's why Cole
Arc
posted underneath there that this is going to be one of the 6 that we get this year.
Okay.
So, yep.
And Arc 2, I think, is another one that they.
Well, that's not.
That's not.
That's just a deal.
That's not Xbox.
Yeah. Just deal marketing.
Yeah.
So So ultimately, if they've got one more surprise for us, if Avowed or Hellblade 2 is ready for fall winter, then we could ultimately wind up with 8. And then, of course, as we just talked about, Mav, there's studios out there that we believe have been working on something like id, that could potentially show up out of the blue with something else. So, 8 to 10 is where I've always been for this next year. People told me I was crazy, but I do legitimately think that we could wind up with 8 to 10 first-party titles from Microsoft. Again, it's how you count them, because there's people that are going to discredit Minecraft Legends. There's people that are going to discredit Aura. There's people that are going to discredit Age of Empires because they don't count because they're not, the big AAA style games that people think about, but they still do count. So 8 to 10 first party this year.
It's also, there's probably some small thing like Pentiment or Grounded or something.
Yeah, there could be something, a passion project out there that we don't know about yet. So yeah, I definitely think we could wind up there. Again, as we've all talked about, and Mav, you did it, without ABK, there's 40 plus games in the works right now. At least there's 40 plus. These games have to come out. They can't hold these games. If you divide that over the next 5 years, and realistically where all these games are in development, we're actually talking about 4 years. But even if you say 5 years, that's 8 games per year. Easy, right? If not more, depending on how many there are. So they've got to launch these games at some point. And again, I think 2023 is the start. So
yeah, and I have this PDF still on my desk.
Going back to Mav's list, he pulls up every other stream.
Well, this one doesn't even have the unannounced project names, right? Like the rumored ones, but without the confirmed pretty much rumors that Jez keeps putting out there, because everything that Jez has put out there has turned out to be true, right? So like the IO Interactive game, like the stuff like Grubbs put out there too, like the Certain Affinity game, right? There's Certain Affinity's rumors. I see you looking that up and saying Cakes is a Monster Hunter type game being published by Microsoft. And it coincides with something that they put on their hiring pages and stuff that they talk about that they got going on. That also doesn't count like what we know Certain Affinity's working on now with Halo and this new Battle Royale type thing that they're supposed to be having. Everwild is on there.
Well, we had a season 3 tease, and there was nothing about that. So it's that Battle Royale thing's I don't know,
a year away probably.
Yeah.
Everwild, Fable. You have Avowed. You have Obsidian has another project they haven't talked about. You have Outer Worlds 2. You got Hellblade 2, Project Mara. You have another Minecraft spinoff because they had talked about that they had 2 Minecraft spinoffs. We know Legends announced, but we don't know about what the other one is. Then you got Perfect Dark, Double Fine's working on something now again. Compulsion's games got to be announced soon. In Exile has 2 games they're working on supposedly. The Coalition has 2 projects that they're working on.
What's interesting I found about that is they're getting help from Crystal Dynamics, but also Crystal Dynamics now is helping Amazon make a Tomb Raider. So it's like,
yeah,
they're really getting split up over there.
World's Edge has a partner for another game they had talked about. Was that maybe the Age of was it Age of Wonders?
Age of Mythology?
Mythology.
Age of
Wonders.
Mythology.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe that was that one. But is that only in-house?
Well, I think they got help from Relic Entertainment, which is Sega, to make Age 4. So unless if they're getting that partnership again to make Age of Mythology, maybe that.
They talked about that they're working with a partner that they're excited about announcing in the future. So don't know what that is. But I mean, that's another thing though. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, like Tango Gameworks, like they said that John Johannes is working on a new game, you know? Like,
yeah, what's Roundhouse Games is working on? That's a bit.
Roundhouse. They talked about that 2 different
it's
times.
Roadhouse.
Is it Roadhouse?
It's
it's
Roundhouse. They talked about that 2 different times. Maybe it's some mobile thing. Who knows? But they seemed pretty excited about it. And that studio actually has a history. That I think is formerly like, was it Human Head Studios or something like that?
I believe so.
So then you got ZeniMax Online's other game that they can't talk about. You know, you got Machine Games has Indiana Jones and maybe one more. I mean, it goes on and on. You got the other, like the Wu-Tang Clan game, you know, like Aura, it has since been announced. That was another Jez rumor that turned out to be true, right? So I don't know, there's just like an insane amount of stuff. And at some point, there has to be game announcements. Because one thing that did lack in 2022 was new game announcements from Xbox first party.
Yep.
You had Pentiment,
Age of Mythology,
Aura,
Age mobile game,
Minecraft Legends. Anything exciting right now? Like really exciting? I mean, like for real.
Redfall
exciting?
wasn't announced early this year, was it?
No. This was announced last year, I think.
Yep.
At E3 last year. Yeah, it was at the E3
that was last
year.
Yeah, the amazing 2020.
But you get my State of Decay 3 has been shown like years ago, but never shown again. Like you get my point here, right? They got like 30 plus names.
Is it in that 12-month window?
That we know 100 about concrete. Then there's like 10 other rumor like projects. So you're in the 40 territory, right? At least. And then if you add ABK to that, that's open as another can of worms, right? So at this point, though, just looking at that, it's like, you know, they got a lot of stuff they got to announce in a short period of time. So how are they going to do this? I think next year, the future of Xbox is not only the future of the pipeline of games that start hitting, it's also the future of how they're going to start showcasing these pipelines.
Oh, yeah.
Marketing.
I think we see a brand new marketing
Xbox
for 2023 for Xbox.
Yeah,
11-month window. Gotcha.
Because they got because they hired them. Because they hired another person to help with that, so they can do better. So I think I forget the person that they hired, and then we just recently got that production Xbox studio announcement just the other day. So I think that is a part of that hire. So we definitely gonna see, and then that was rumored to possibly being like a Nintendo Direct style, state of play style showcasing. So really high production value, and giving us.
Well, I don't know about high production value, but
Okay, Debbie Downer. But I think it's going to be a start of where Microsoft wants to go. And they're not pigeonholed to doing like they have to show at E3, they have to show at PAX, they have to show at Tokyo Game Show. And even if they do their own showcase throughout the year, they can still go to these shows, and if they do have new announcements, like somebody's working on a new title, or something that's an update, gameplay, they can show them at those showcases as well, on top of, and not doing just like what Nintendo and Sony does, only their state of plays and only their Nintendo Directs, because Microsoft likes to be in the community, and they want to be at these shows because they haven't had their own, they had an XO once or twice, and that's about it, and that was like the end of it. So they used to have an event app on the Xbox, on the Xbox One, where it listed things that are possibly
yeah, but I think that's just because it went more towards YouTube and Twitch, so they stopped doing that app pretty much.
And with Mixer and all that closing, a lot of things got reshuffled and got lost by the wayside. But now I think they're refocusing their energy and refocusing their strategy now, especially with how lackluster 2022 is, that I think they're now going to focus their energy back into, and that's why this studio got announced. And I think we're going to see a new side of Xbox that will show a lot of gamers.
Part of me doesn't. I don't expect like big shows out of this new studio. I think it may just be them trying to alleviate some like person like that does the Twitch shows like every couple of weeks, like you'll see like they just did a Wu-Tang like showcase the other day. Like I think it may just be them like so that person doesn't have to spend their like 3 extra hours after work setting that shit up. Like maybe they're just going to make a dedicated team to those kind of shows.
We'll see. They will see. They didn't go into detail what that studio is. Only time will tell exactly what is going to come out of that.
It could be Larry Herb's new studio. Larry Herb, Major Nelson here.
Well, it'd be good to see that, instead of doing, like doing this whole Twitch thing, like remember like was it 2020? Was it 2020 when they did that Twitch stream where they took 90 minutes and stretched it for 4 fucking hours? And we're like, what the fuck?
I mean, they did that for Gamescom.
Yeah. And it was just horrible. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of those long, drawn out sit down shows they do. I think,
and they made it a little bit better the year after because they heard the outcries. Like, what the fuck?
But what if they
sit there?
Broke up that idea into like lots of different smaller things that they?
I just expect more of those, like the show we had for Age of Empires, where like it showcases a game that's kind of already out and what future stuff is coming out for that game, and then you may get like one big like announcement for the next game, like at the end of this show, and it just celebrates that game.
Jasper, you gotta think about. Yeah, I'm not thinking big showcases or XO events here from this new marketing team, but you got to think about how much content they've got. They've got to put the spotlight not only on first party, but on their third party exclusives too, and their indie titles. And yes, they have ID at Xbox. Yes, they do those types of shows, but they've got to have something in between to say, hey, within the next 3 months, we got this coming out. Here's an update on something you're going to be playing next 30 days.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, no.
When Redfall's like a month or two away, like they have a show for that's like 3 hours and it just celebrates Redfall coming out.
Yeah, and that's why Nintendo Directs come up, because that's what Nintendo does, right? They use Nintendo Directs, and so does Sony, for the stuff that's coming up shortly, right? And I think that's where Xbox has been lacking, is those in between. The Xbox Wire, the YouTube, that doesn't cut it. Again, I know some people go there all the time and read that stuff, but you got to have something a little bit more presentable
that is going to draw the heat and excitement.
They look how everybody, when a Nintendo Direct is talked about, or
because they announce it ahead of time too,
right?
and
it's a big ordeal. right? It's a big deal.
You don't
and
just
if Xbox can start
earlier this year, they dropped a Redfall trailer. It was badass and just out of nowhere, out of the blue, and no talk about it ahead of time, nothing. I was like, why didn't you like hype that up before? You know?
Right. And that's been the problem.
The thing with Nintendo Directs though is like there's always that potential of like the next big game from Nintendo announced there. And I don't think Xbox is willing to do that because they're so focused on that.
They don't have to, Jasper. They can still have updates. Like, let's say that like they announce. Well, let's say they announce. Right. So Starfield's been announced. We got to see a little bit from it, right? But just 2 months prior to launch, they use, and I'm just using this example. I know Bethesda does their own marketing, so whatever. It might not happen. But if Xbox has a presentation and they say, hey, we're going to give you a little bit more in-depth look of gameplay from Starfield along with some updates on some of the other games you're going to be playing the next couple months, you're going to draw a huge crowd. It's not just going to be Xbox fans that are coming. It's going to be that excitement. So I'm not necessarily saying that because they're still
I think we're on the same page. I just don't expect like a showcase.
No, and I'm not saying that at all. No. And I agree with you there. Right. So
because Cake's wanting to jump in here. So
I know you guys want things like now and like announced and want those teaser things, but the thing is what I think is that no company wants to keep delaying and having to keep delaying games. Because I think Starfield is delayed 3 years now, I think, or 2 years. I can't remember.
No, it never had an official launch date until last year.
But they kept. I think they
hyped it. Hyped it. Yeah,
and then they kept pushing it back. They don't want to. I don't think any company wants to keep doing that and doing that and doing that. They want everything to be refined now because even the biggest like negative comments on like video games period of this new generation is that we're getting like half-ass games put out with like a shit ton of fucking bugs.
Correct.
No, sorry for cursing.
Did you just hear Psycho ramble off 10 F words like within 30 seconds? He had more F words than he had real words. Let's go.
But sorry, fucking roll.
I don't know how I don't regulate myself sometimes when I get heated, so I don't know how many I'm saying. But that's like the biggest negative comment that like a lot of game companies are getting nowadays, and like what I think they want to do is just refine it. Even the announcements at this point, so that they don't get all this negative feedback. Sure. I think the less negative feedback is more important, maybe more important to them right now than
like they don't want another Halo Infinite showing that happened a couple years back.
Correct.
So I get it. I get you want this hype, but at the same time, it's like, for me, I would rather have a refined thing and you take your time. Seeing from my perspective, seeing like the more time I get to work on my stuff, the better everything's gonna look.
Right.
Like the better everything's gonna be. The more features you can get, like that's how it is.
Microsoft's not gonna take that risk. That's 12-month windows.
I
new marketing plan.
The other thing behind that is like they don't have a console to push these games for right now too, so they have a little bit of breathing room to do that. Like if they said they had like a new Xbox console coming out like in the next 2 years, then you'd be seeing a bunch more announcements. But since they don't, they have a little bit of a leeway for that.
What I feel like is that there's room for both, right? Because I feel like E3's gonna be the big Xbox time like it usually is, right? But where they lacked is the rest of the year. Right, where Nintendo and PlayStation had constant things. Right now you could say well, PlayStation didn't show up at E3, and I give them shit for that too, right? Nintendo picks and chooses where they want to show and how they show things. Nintendo usually has a big Nintendo Direct around,
but we had more Xbox shows this year than PlayStation did.
The Tokyo Game Show was great.
Yeah, Gamescom was there.
Gamescom was great.
How many state of plays did PlayStation have?
What, 2?
No,
this year,
they had more state of plays than 2. They had like
4, at least 4. They had the one that was geared towards Gran Turismo, and
they had a Horizon Forbidden West one. They had a God of War Ragnarok one. They had a GT7 one, I think, even.
And Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah.
Well, we also had we had an Xbox show early in the year too, like sometime in the spring, I think.
But so my point is, because Xbox has more projects in the works than Sony does, also, that they need to take more advantage of different opportunities. Now, like yes, some of the games may be 2 years away, 3 years away, whatever. But I will say that the only problem with announcing a game way ahead of time is when you don't say or talk anything or show anything about it for 2.5 years, right? Now, I like knowing about the roadmap ahead, okay? And I feel like, yes, people want to see these things and want to know more, right? But you can show like a little bit of a dev diary insight or something, or a little bit of things where like,
no one wants to see a dev talk on stage.
No, not at E3, not at E3. I'm saying like Starfield's been doing this for years now, right? And last year we got, how many different videos have we had for Starfield with like the studio?
We had Redfall. We had Redfall.
We've had Redfall. Bethesda's doing way better than the rest of Xbox, right? Bethesda's side, they're doing great as far as keeping us up to date with the titles that we know about. Okay. What Xbox is not doing is keeping us up to date with the titles that we know about, with the exception of Hellblade.
I would disagree. I just think they don't. We're not aware of it because they just had the Wo Long stream, like literally last like.
But that's
3
not a
days ago.
first-party game.
But Xbox is marketing it, and they had a fucking show for it.
But they didn't even post it on Twitter.
Yeah.
They retweeted it.
Yeah. So where's any kind of like dev video about Perfect Dark? Where's any kind of dev video about Fable? Where's any dev video about Avowed? Where's any dev like type
because
video?
they're like 3 years away.
Well, then why did they announce them 2.5 years ago?
They're
if they
not.
can't talk about anything for two and a
kinda
half
feel that
two and a half
almost
years is a long time. Not to
Avowed is
talk-
not 3 years away.
Well,
not to show
I get
anything.
the feeling that they're like damned if they do and damned if they don't, because dare they show concept art, then it's like the whole thing with factions. It's like, oh, you're getting hyped over.
Well, that was
concept art.
worse. They just stood on a stage and showed a piece of paper, Fuzzy. I mean,
then you have CGI, and it's like, well, that's not gameplay. Why do I'm tired of these fake CGI things, and it's like they get blasted for that. And then when they show gameplay, well, that didn't look like gameplay. I didn't see any button prompts or nothing.
Yeah, but 2.5 years to not even have another CG trailer or another like anything is a long time.
Games can change so much in those 2 years. Like, look at Everwild. They announced it and they have to rework the whole fucking game. So it's like,
remember like Quantum Break?
Yeah, but
like, I know that wasn't first party, but it was like they changed the whole cast.
I think it's a mistake not to reassure people about these games, because it just leads to speculation about issues with the development, all reboots, internal restructures of the studios, and that adds to the conversation that Xbox doesn't know how to run their studios.
A week after E3, I guarantee you half the people don't even know that fucking Perfect Dark was announced. So it's like, how many people actually fucking remember this shit was announced?
Oh, tons. When Perfect Dark, that trailer was shown at the Game Awards, that was all the talk for a while about Perfect Dark at the Game Awards, that trailer.
And no one's talking about it now.
Because it's been 2.5 years.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal. Listen. If Microsoft is going to take the next step, and everything says that they are, and their games are now going to be competing for Game of the Year every time, right? Or let's say hit more hits than misses, right? And that's what they're shooting for. We know internally they've reviewed Sony games to see what makes them tick, why they're so special. We know that they're going for quality over quantity now. That they still got quantity because they own so much, but they're supposedly now taking it serious that these games, like Insane Cake said, are going to come out, get the time that they need to bake in the oven. They're not going to be half-baked when they come out, okay? So if that is the case, then you have to start presenting yourself in that manner. And the reason why, like to Jasper's point, that people forget that Perfect Dark was announced or whatever, is because they haven't hit that mark yet where people's anticipation and hype levels outside of the Xbox fans are reaching the levels of a Sony or Nintendo game. But if they're going to get to that point, they have to start marketing in that fashion. And then when they start dropping these games and these games start coming out and people are like, whoa, wow, okay, this is high quality. This is something
the games
different.
Lose the hype because they stop talking about them.
Because they stop talking about them. And that's what I'm saying, is they got to start having that mentality. And again, this isn't about, and I know there's a ton of people in this community. Oh, you just want them to copy Sony. You just want them to copy. No. It's a mentality of, hey, we are putting out top tier quality games now. We're not putting out the games that are half polished. We're not putting out these games that get criticized. We're putting out games like Forza Horizon 5 that was praised universally. And those games, and again, we all sat here and complained how it wasn't up for Game of the Year nomination. If that's the new Xbox going forward, then they have to have the mentality that they are going to draw people to these smaller shows, these spotlight shows, that people are going to be excited that when they say, hey, we got a show coming up and we want to give you a little inside update on Avowed, people are going to come and watch that, even people outside of the Xbox community, to say, okay, what's Xbox got coming up? I'm getting excited for this. Maybe this is something that I do want to jump into the ecosystem. That's what PlayStation and Nintendo do all the time. They have to start having that winner's mentality, that our games are worthy of additional spotlights outside of our showcase, outside of the Game Awards, outside of Gamescom, Tokyo, that this is now a premium experience. And I know everybody hates that, but it is. And we are proud to show these off and give spotlights, and people are going to be interested in come. And I think that's what they've got to start developing. And so that's what, right, exactly. That's what they got to start doing to create that mentality of, hey, we are up here with the best of the best now. And I think that that's a part of what's going on.
Yeah, so they're going to start labeling every Xbox stream Xbox bangers upcoming.
Right. Yeah, right. And I would not mind it if they,
though, you know,
I would not mind if they came out with like all this Xbox marketing that they're doing. What did they just come out with for Game Pass, GH, whatever the hell it is, whatever the stupid acronym is.
The fuck, yeah.
Listen, if you're going to spend all the time doing that, why don't you guys come up with something internally going forward that this is the new Xbox, this is the new Microsoft games. Why don't you come up with something like Nintendo Seal
I think it's GLHV. Good luck, have fun. So stupid.
Yeah, there it is.
I hate it.
It's so stupid. But why don't they come up with something like a seal of equality, like Nintendo did back in a day, that you stamp on your games?
The Nintendo thing is hard because the games that people hype up Nintendo, those have been around for 20 plus fucking years.
Correct, but you have to come in the mentality that your games too are going to be in that same boat, that a Starfield is going to be played for the next 10, 15, 20 years like Todd wants it to be.
And I think Todd's and them have done a good job with Starfield marketing.
They've done a great job.
The Redfall team's done a great job with the marketing behind that. I feel like ZeniMax Online does a great job with all the updates that they have as well. The Fallout 76 team does with their side as well. I feel like Bethesda's side is not the issue here whatsoever for me.
No, I'm saying they should learn from them. We talked about that when they acquired ZeniMax, right? 100%. They could learn a lot from Bethesda's marketing. Correct.
Yep. And I feel like with
Xbox, that's what Bethesda kind of does. They do a lot of stuff like this year. This is what's coming out in Bethesda. Bethesda usually doesn't push stuff like too far out.
No, you don't see nothing past.
Well, but we did get.
We did get Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, it's the Elder Scrolls 6.
Well, that was. I think that was like.
What interesting thing is occasionally Todd Howard will give a little nugget in an interview or something about like.
That's what gets you in those streams though, because you're like excited because Todd's gonna maybe drop the next nugget, but like
exactly.
he tries to only talk about stuff that's coming out this year.
We don't hear anything about Fable. We don't hear anything about Perfect Dark. We don't hear anything about Avowed. We don't hear anything about
that was the nugget. We had the nugget, and it's gone for 6 years.
Like
this is why I like to see games being announced and shown within a do it like a 2-year window. 2 years out, you show like a CGI trailer. I know people hate that, but get fucking over it.
1 year you showed us a very quick.
So do you want Elder Scrolls 6 CGI trailer next year? Because that's not going to fucking happen. It's like that.
If it's 2 years out, if the game's come out
for that, I mean,
2 years out,
like I don't
show the CGI trailer, and then the year that's supposed to come out, show gameplay, and so then whatever, and then 2 years out, show the CGI trailers, and then the following year, those games that got the trailers now get gameplay, and you just do that, and then people see a steady cadence of games coming out. Like, okay, this is so if we see a CGI, that's going to be within 2 years. If we get gameplay, we're getting something from now to to within a year. So that people now be like, all right, cool. This is what's coming out
Let's
for
see,
Xbox.
that 2-year thing's hard because that fucked Halo.
Well,
yeah, but you don't have to announce a release date until you're positive, right? That's the other thing about it. You don't have to announce the release year until you're sure about it.
And it's not perfect, though. That's the thing. It's
you
not
can
perfect.
still,
It's
you
going
can
to be
still
ongoing.
market a game without announcing a release window or a release date. You know what I mean? You can wait till you're ready there. You can still market. You can still
But even
update
if you
people
show
along
a
the
game,
way.
like even if they didn't say Halo was coming out that year, the whole thing was fucking Craig looks like a stupid clay man, and this
but
game's
that's
ass.
another issue with with Xbox marketing, because they never should have showed that game, and they should have known better, and they should have delayed it beforehand. And if they weren't ready to show it, they shouldn't have showed it. That's another issue with Xbox marketing. Like anything that you're saying right now, I agree with, but that's also another problem that they have that they need to address.
But what you're saying, I'm saying why they can't do what you want, because shit like this happens.
I'm not saying you got to show like a huge gameplay segment of something that's not finished. Like, why would you?
But then they show nothing for 2 years.
No,
that's my point.
They don't show nothing. They have little dev interviews. They show little like artwork segments. They talk about it. They do different things. There's so many different things. Look how many things that Todd Howard's done with Starfield, right? He's done so many, and that game got announced years ago.
There's so many games you have to have somewhat of an announcement to get people hyped for what is coming out, and that's and that was just hypothetically speaking with the 2-year window. They could do whatever the fuck they want. If they want to just do 1 year, if they want to stick to this 1 year window, people are not going to get very hyped. Like, okay, okay, what we're going to get. All right, what's next year going to be? And then people don't want to be drip fed things like that. They like to know. Look at fucking Sony. Was it God of War, Ghost of Tsushima? Those games were like 5 years out before they were even ready to be
I just think
released.
The 12-month window,
and they fucking ate that shit up like it was fucking like, give me more of that.
I think the 12-month window is perfect because people have short-term memories, and it's just like you get it out like in that. Like, we know this is coming this year. You get it out, everyone plays it, and then you get to look forward to the next year. What's coming?
That's great. That's great. I don't mind that at all. The problem is you still have the games that you already did announce, right? So if that's the direction they have, because they have so many games going forward, you still have to address the games that you announced, because otherwise, what happens?
How amazing would it be if you got a new game announced in fucking January and it comes out and
it's amazing, but that's not what they did with Avowed, Perfect Dark, Fable. And those
that's
games,
what we're gonna get potentially.
No, because they've already announced them, so it didn't happen. We went 2.5 years. My issue is if you announce something, you have to keep people updated on it and show and at least get some information on it. Like, figure it out.
I think the drawback is that you run into the problem, kind of like, even look at Cyberpunk, for example. When you announce a game and things behind the scenes change dramatically, then you're stuck updating a game that now you're fighting behind the scenes of getting either the direction change, like an Everwild, or you're dealing with other programming issues like you did with Crackdown. But you've showed it, but now it's like, oh well, we're obligated to show the fans, hey, we're still working on it, but yet you don't have that same standard.
These guys talk around circles a lot of times when they're doing these shows and stuff, and give little hints about things they know are going to be there.
So you want them to lie for you to 2 fucking years and you still get Crackdown 3?
No, I don't. What I want them to do is give us some development insight and the status and proof of life.
Hey, our game's ass, but it's still coming out.
On games that you announced 2.5 years ago, because what happens otherwise, right? Look at what's happened in the otherwise. You have rumors spreading about turmoil at the initiative. You have rumors spreading about issues with the engine now at Playground Games with Fable. You have rumors spreading about all these different things because we have nothing else to go on. When people leave a studio, it's like, oh my God, this guy left a studio. There must be something wrong going on over at 343.
But they always leave
or whatever.
But then the big issue is,
that's
at that point, you probably were better off not announcing that project name or showing that game. Although it was kind of a weird thing with the beginning of this generation's launched, they had to show those games because of the vacuum from the Xbox One.
But when they made the decision to do that, they should have had a plan at least that you got to at least talk about it for one point in the next 2.5 years.
Fucked everything.
On the exact opposite side, though, you look at a game like Apex, which had zero marketing until literally one day. Like, I get you're saying like, they announced it in the past. No,
I'm talking about their past. They need to fix.
But this is a game. That's a game that had zero marketing until the day it came out. Like literally, you heard about it. It's like, oh, now I can play this right now. Like that's amazing.
Well, they
might be taking note of that though. And so they might have made a mistake 2 years ago in announcing that, or
you could imagine how many people would be pissed off that wasn't Titanfall 3 if they announced that 2 years ago. People would be fucking rioting.
I agree with that. But
people make so many changes. That could have been like Fuzzy says. There's many changes going on. Apex could have been that change from Titanfall 3, and now we have an amazing. Well, it's. However you feel about Apex, I think it's a great game. When it came out, it was a great game. So,
I agree. I agree with everything you guys are saying, but it doesn't change the fact that they already announced those 5 games at that showcase that we have not heard about for 2.5 years.
Would you accept
Matt Booty has said something.
They did for Everwild. So like
Matt Booty has, but he's not on the development team. He's like the head.
He's the head of Xbox. He's the head of the studios.
Right, but he's like, I'm excited to talk about it, but I can't because the team isn't ready to talk about it. That's all Matt Booty said. Like, have somebody talk about Albion a little bit about what their vision is for it.
It will be ready when it's ready.
But they can't if they can't get into it because if that reveals that could possibly reveal too much of the game, so they have to keep some suspense. So I get, but
so when are we going to hear from these games again?
When it's within a 12 month
when they're ready. When they're ready, this is
you could potentially announce the game and not mention it one other time for 4 years.
The beginning of this generation, they had to say that, like Fuzzy said, because of how poor the Xbox One generation. So they had to announce.
Do you want to start comparing Xbox and Ubisoft? Let's not go there. So if we're saying that
Everwild was that definite learning curve for them, I think, because it was a beautiful looking showing. And it was announced in what would have been a favorable time for being moving into the next gen, but it completely hit the restart button to some extent.
Yeah, because they didn't want combat, and somebody else wanted combat, and they couldn't fucking come up with do we have combat or not? And then they're like, and then combat won, and then the guy that his vision is like, I don't want to do this no more, and so he fucking left. But the thing is, those games that were announced at that 2020, it was one of those, like, they had to show what the future was to get people excited for Xbox. If they did not show Perfect Dark and Fable and all those, people would not be like, what does Xbox
people
have?
Right now,
the Switch is still going through this with Metroid 4.
But it's better to have negative talk about games not coming out yet, because if you have nothing shown, then that's the talk. And now instead of having, these games are coming, we just don't know when they're ready yet. So that was the positive, that like the lesser of the two evils. So they had to do that. And that's why we haven't seen them going back to that, and at least with this last year's E3, they didn't really. They showed this is what's coming out within the year. That's where they went. So they gave us a tidbit, they fed us little, nuggets of here's Fable, here's this, that, and the other.
You had your nugget. You got to let it last 5 years.
Here's let me jump in here with a relative tweet, a tweet that's actually relative to our conversation. Yeah, Jez just posted like 40 minutes ago, said my vague rumor that there's going to be an Xbox event in early 2023 is starting to look likely true. So Jez is confirming that it's sounding more and more true that we're going to have.
Insane Cakes comment on that?
I know.
I mean, Aaron Greenberg literally said that. So.
I know.
Well, he didn't literally say that.
I know zero. Refer to my HR. I'll give you their number. But if something is announced, I will gladly talk about what is seen. Yeah, and that is it.
Yeah, and I think this is the start of that Xbox Studio, that project coming up. I think we're going to get a glimpse of what whenever end of January, early February, whenever that window is. It can't be too further into February, because we got fucking Redfall. There's only 6 months from start of the year to E3, and you said these games are coming in within the 6 months, so we got 6 months and 3 games.
That's why I'm thinking smaller shows, just so they can cover the game that's coming out like in February. If Redfall comes out in February, they have the show towards January, just cover Redfall coming out, and then you may have like a smaller showcase in like late spring, just to kind of get you ready for E3.
I think we'll see probably the 3 that we know that are coming from first party, and then whatever is announced within the window from third party. We don't know anything about Stalker 2. If that they were Phil Spencer was talking to them at the Game Awards, so we'll see if anything comes from that, and see
I mean, that game has this whole situation going on with that. So,
well, yeah, there's a fucking war. So I get that, and that's why it's like if it's delayed further, we understand that there's real life matters and the safety of others over the fucking a video game, but just other titles that Atomic Heart. Just other spotlights that they can really show and shine that are going to really capture, Life of P. I think that is early 2023, correct? Is it?
Something like that, yeah.
I think it just says 23.
Yeah, so we possibly get a little bit more about that game. There's a lot that this showcase that Jez is now doubling down that it's more likely it
needs to have Perfect Avowed, Fable, and State of Decay 3 or bust. I'm just kidding.
How's your Gambit movie coming along?
Yeah. If there was going to be a Gambit movie, it got canceled.
E3.
That's why they don't fucking announce shit early.
I have that fear that
about those.
Like Fable is going to be like 2024, 2025, Perfect Dark at least 2024 range, maybe even later. I almost wish that there was a way that they could show kind of like, remember that leaked, what was it, Capcom map or something like that? Or was it another developer, or was it Bandai that had like those leaks where it showed like where certain games were going to fall?
I think it's when Bandai got hacked.
Was it Bandai?
Yeah. And I think the hacker like leaked some dates or some shit.
I almost wish they could show kind of a loosely based flow chart of like between now and 2026, like maybe show Elder Scrolls 6 somewhere
kind of like do the phases of Marvel. Here's phase 4.
Yeah, like something along those lines where you don't necessarily put an exact month, but at least like kind of a year period that it's going to be. So at least that would address why we haven't seen Perfect Dark, or why we won't probably see Fable for another year, or whatever the case may be. So that way it kind of it's not really temper expectations, but it would kind of help to some extent, because I know from my standpoint, if I see a game that hasn't been announced prior and then it's going to release within 12 months before they announce, like, let's say a Fable or Perfect Dark, it would just seem kind of odd to me. Like, how did that one sneak in? And the one that you actually showed me still doesn't have a time frame. But then again, kind of like PlayStation did that with like
Wolverine.
What was it, Ghost of Tsushima,
and everyone thinks that game's coming out next year, so that's the fucking problem.
Yeah, but those guys are morons. Like, if we see a little snippet of Wolverine within the next 2.5 years, I would bet we're gonna see something from that game within the next 2.5 years, right?
No, Wolverine is 2025, 2026.
Yeah, but we're gonna see it marketed again at some point within the next 2.5 years.
That's what Sony does.
Yeah. Maybe like
that's what Sony does.
Or 3, but
I think
maybe not 3.
I think a lot of what people are kind of forgetting with Xbox is they still have the old mentality. Xbox now is is going to have more quality titles because they see that you can't have shit looking games.
No, I agree with
And
you there.
so I think like the Fable and Perfect Dark, I think those games got like, all right, we need, and even Starfield, it got delayed a year, for polish. We're seeing them switching towards, okay, we need to put more emphasis on the quality of the game, not graphically, how it plays. So there's no bugs. So even if a game comes out and it's not, the best looking game, but it's going to have some bugs. You can't have a perfect game, but if big major breaking bugs don't happen and there's just like little tweaks here and there that are not bad that you can live with, I think that is where Xbox is shifting their energy, and that's why those games are further out now, because they're like, okay, we need to put a little bit more time. I think Fable, I think
Halo is really
ambitious.
What fucked them up on that, because I'm sure like once
Fable
they had all those
was going to release, everybody. If people didn't bitch, Fable would have released in 2020, and the outcry, people, Xbox was like, oh,
are you talking about Halo?
Yeah.
You said
it was
Fable.
coming out.
Fable.
I was like,
Yeah.
Did I say Fable? Sorry, I'm so fucking intense. I'm like, my brain's going all
That's
over
why
the
I'm
place.
saying, like, I think Halo was the final straw, because like Xbox probably looked at them as like, we wasted how much money on all these fucking dumbass promotions for energy drinks, cookies, and all this shit, and it's supposed to be out in a year. Now we got to delay it a whole another fucking year.
Well, they put it
and
on the box
us,
of the fucking console.
And
I mean, you can't get. I mean,
they wasted so much marketing that game that I'm sure the high ups at Microsoft was like, you just wasted so much fucking money. No, we ain't doing that.
Yeah, and I love Halo, and fucking even that year, there's just still like the content for multiplayer wasn't there. It's like, okay, yeah, the game, you gave it textures and you gave it, that extra polish for the game that looks great. Where's the fucking the campaign was great for when in 2021, but the multiplayer fucking it's been lacking. It's been lacking, and except for this winter update, got a little bit better. I liked what they did with Forge. I like what they did with the new beta multiplayer, the experience beta that they put out. I like, they can tweak it, but that they're learning, and it shows that we're not giving up, and we're not just putting out shit. So this winter update, and hopefully season 3 we'll see a lot better. But they're learning. Xbox fell behind from the 360 era with not having studios. They were doing all these third-party deals and not focusing on in-house and acquiring and building up their first party. And it fucking was very relevant in the Xbox One generation, when they still didn't do that shit until Phil Spencer was like, yo, we need to start buying studios, because our 5 are not gonna fucking gonna sustain this company, the company,
the brand.
So yeah, the brand. So it just, they're the things that happened like in the PS3 have the shit that happens with the PS3, acquiring studios and building up that brand. That's why PS4 shined, outside of Xbox, with the poor marketing. They jumped on that. But, Xbox is just getting out of that, like we're shifting into that positive brand marketing, that we say, okay, Xbox games look great. They're not buggy. They're not broken. I mean, even PS5 games coming out now are buggy. Or
I think that's like two different conversations, though, about when you release a game, and also how and where you show it. Like I think that,
yeah, but they had to, though. That's the problem, though, man. They had to show what they did in 2020. So there's nothing you could do. That's why we won't.
But
I
feel like when you make that decision,
we won't see that number.
You have to stand behind that going forward, and not stay radio silent on things. You know what I mean?
but if they give you, if the game's not ready, what are they going to announce? What are they going to show you? A picture?
There's there's a million things that these studios do for like they have
but then if they just talk about it and they don't show us anything, that people are going to be pissed because they didn't show us anything. They only talked about it. So it's a double-edged sword. They're fucked if they do. They fucked if they don't.
I'm not saying they got to do huge blowouts. It's just like
how many people fucking go and search for a stupid devlog? Like
if there was a video that popped on YouTube right now that with the Fable interview with the head up of Playground talking about their vision for Fable, it would fucking explode.
We would watch it, but no one outside of us is gonna give a fuck.
It would be huge.
Yeah,
it would be massive.
People are gonna be like, "What the fuck did they show us? They didn't show us no gameplay. They didn't show us any stills.
Nobody was
they didn't
complaining.
Show us shit.
Nobody's
only talked about it.
Nobody's complaining about Redfall. They've done that like 2 or 3 times with Redfall. Nobody's
no one's
complaining
talking about
Starfield.
No one's talking
They've done
about
that
the
2 or 3 times with Starfield
devlogs. No one's talking about that.
You're wrong, Jasper, because actually every time they've shown Redfall, people have gotten more excited for Redfall. People that were on the fence or not interested in Redfall, they actually did get more excited. So those dev diaries do have influence. The same thing happened with Midnight Suns for a lot of people as well. People jumped off, and then once they started doing the little showcases, people jumped back on again. So they
it leads to it just leads to confidence.
But they gotta show something.
It's just got to be. You don't have to even. You can just talk. It leads.
They talked about Everwild and they did dev diaries for Everwild, and that did not get me even more. That game
because all they said is we don't know what it is yet. Like
those dev diaries are.
If you're telling me that's the stage of Perfect Dark,
I think it's
if you go back to listen to those dev
round.
Diaries about Everwild, it's totally different. But they talked about
the lady stood up in a video. It was like a dev diary, and like we aren't really sure where we're going with this yet. Like I watched them.
I think we're focused right now too much on what we do. Like I think we're so far like in this rabbit hole of gaming that we know the shit that goes on.
No,
but
I'm thinking
no one
about
else
even like
16-year-old
me would have still wanted to see this stuff. Read about it in a gaming
magazine. That's my point. Like
I'll put some perspective.
But isn't that where the hype for games comes from? Originally, at the source of like people getting excited for stuff.
All right,
not direct adjust.
Let's take Forza for example. Forza's a pillar, but it's not the biggest pillar. They have monthly shows. They may talk about their upcoming game once every 3 months, let's say. Those shows don't get any more views. In fact, a lot of times they get less views than the ones that are just updates for the existing titles. Now, they may get shared amongst the enthusiasts of us that are in the community, but outside of that, they don't see any more traction. And that's the case. Even I know you guys want to believe that was the case with Redfall and Suns. Go look at the views of those versus the views of, like, let's say an E3 or a State of Play or a Nintendo Direct. It pales in comparison for every time.
100%. But it's different. It's confidence building in the brand and the product, right? And when you stay radio silent on something for 2.5 years, it leads to the opposite of confidence.
Yeah, but that's for the hardcore gamers. Someone
that permeates
just a little bit of a casual.
There's ripples. There's ripples. There are.
There are ripples.
The latest Starfield thing has 68,000 views. No one's talking about that.
But see, the thing is that if the casuals are not going to give, they're like, oh, the game's not out yet. When they are ready to show Starfield, let's use Starfield. When they're ready to show Starfield,
but my point is, the next massive blowout of Starfield is going to be huge. But these little things still keep the confidence up. It still gives people stuff to keep their appetite.
It gives us the enthusiast.
That's what I'm asking for. Is shit for me. Shit for me. The enthusiast, the gamer that really cares about this shit. Give us some information on the games that you announced 2.5 years ago. That's it.
What they're doing as far as that, the answer to that is Discord, their forums, occasionally Twitter. That's what they use as communication.
Very rarely do they even
for the enthusiasts. It may not seem like the greatest, but that's typically where they want you to be directed. If like, I guess the bigger thing would be if they had gameplay of Starfield for this latest dev dive deal, you would probably see a lot more views. But
the casuals, the people outside the enthusiasts, they're only going to care about seeing the game. Most people don't care about the talking about a game. Clear cases, look at any interview with any of the devs versus their release trailer or announced trailer. But I get what you're saying as far as the enthusiast, you would want to, be kept in the loop or kept up to date. But right now it seems like a lot of these studios, because of the level of, stuff that they're working on now, they just want you to go to Discord. They just want you to go to the forums. They just want you to, keep an eye out every now and then when they make a post on Twitter. And that's as far as the involvement that they have. I don't know if a lot of these studios have.
And they need a new marketing team to figure out how to handle that for them.
Okay.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Phil, listen, when you're listening to this podcast later, and I know you do, right? Okay. You give me and Mav, we're going to cost a lot less than a lot of people you hire. Okay. Insane Cakes already works for you. Okay. Fuzzy, Jasper, and Psycho are out. Okay. Put me and Mav in charge of the new marketing department, and we're going to put things together for you that get
what's going to happen?
This is my pitch now. We're going to we'll get the core community hyped for you. These guys don't care about the core community. That's apparent. Okay. So we will.
I think we're thinking of the vast
we
majority
will
of people
get the
that are.
information out to the core community that will give ripples to everybody else. Okay. Trust me.
You're going to walk in the door and be like, okay, so we got this plan for this new show. I need 30 seconds of gameplay in the big. No, you get to talk.
Did we say we need 30 seconds of gameplay?
Nope.
All right.
No, but
not all.
If you talk about, let's say, a new mechanic or a new something that's happening, and then they decide to cut it, like, okay, that's not in the game.
Well, that's why you only talk about the stuff you're
thing.
confident in. Like these guys have to know at least something's going to be in the fucking game. Like at this point.
But if these guys if they're nose deep in the game, they're not going to give two shits to update us. To be like,
then you have somebody interview them
yet.
and ask questions. I mean, there's a million different things you can do. Insane Cakes, that's what you want to do.
Let's look at some history here, because I brought up some dates for you, just to get it right on the dot. All right, so I'm a big Kingdom Hearts fan, right?
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 2 I'm gonna go with the final mix one, was released in 2007. 2007. All right. So in the final mix, the secret video, you get to see like the secret endings and what's the future of Kingdom Hearts, right? That's your first teaser right there. That's your first teaser for Kingdom Hearts 3 and Birth by Sleep, right? There was nothing, not a zero thing said about Kingdom Hearts 3 until from 2007 all the way up until 2013. We get one video.
Is that what you guys want? Like Psycho?
One video.
Jasper?
I've seen the Kingdom Hearts community Insane Cakes. Let me tell you.
But hold on. That's all I had was that one video all the way up until 2018 when they finally started releasing more and more stuff. They announced the PS4 because I told you I have one. I got it. I was one of the first few people that got it. And then 6 months after that, then the game finally came out. I can live that long. Waiting that long in between announcements
I think a good difference between Kingdom Hearts though as well though is that people can have confidence in that no matter what. You know what I mean?
If they do
don't
the
have
12-month
confidence
window,
in like Skyrim or Elder Scrolls 6?
I'm not worried about Elder Scrolls 6. I'm talking about all the other Xbox sides. Like Bethesda side, I'm happy
too. Then people,
yeah, I have confidence that Fable is going to be great. I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
well, there's a reason
they're working hard.
There's a reason for people to not.
I got a question.
Because it's a new team working on it. Like there's a lot of aspects
God of War.
What's the problem with the 12-month window? If we get stuff announced for a 12-month window and it comes out in that 12 months, why do we need stuff in the future if every fucking 12 months?
Zero issue with that. I have zero issue with that, Jasper. The problem is I'm not talking about games 12 months away right now. Or that are announced within 12 months. That we're getting news 12 months later. I'm talking about games that were announced 2.5 years ago.
Okay, so Perfect Dark. Let's say all those games that you're wanting, Perfect Dark, whatever, let's say it's all out. What's the problem then if we still just only have 12 months and we know nothing else? Like,
I want them to tell us what is up with these games. Period.
But you wouldn't know about them if it's only 12-month windows.
But that's not what they did. They announced them 2.5 years ago. They didn't do that. They did it.
Sony announced God of War, or was it 5 years before it came out? The last 3 years of development, they showed the fucking same shit over and over just to shut people up, and that's all they did. And guess what? Sony is their beloved, and God of War is one of the beloved games.
It worked really well, didn't it? Like
it worked really well with the fucking confidence of fucking Skull and Bones. I've seen that game like 45 times. It's been delayed 45 times.
Yeah,
Okay.
but see, like
it all depends on the pedigree of the company. Like Sony, like I've said earlier, Nintendo, they have this blind, or their fans have this blind spot where they could see the stuff, the same, almost the identical stuff for 3 years straight. Xbox, on the hand, is scrutinized to the nth degree, monocles and all. The minute you see the same thing you saw last E3 or the last showcase, it's like, oh, they didn't have any updated trailer. Like it's the damn if they do, damn if they don't. Like I agree with you, Mav, on them at least keeping you updated, but I think at least from a logistic standpoint, it seems like they just want to do the Discord stuff only because, at least from what we hear, it seems like if you get a vertical slice of something, or if you have to take a dev away from them focusing on the game or completing something, even though, yeah, it could probably take a half hour, but that half hour could screw up their whole flow of the day or whole flow of the week, depending on what the team is working on. They don't want to really interrupt the devs while they're working on this stuff to just have them say, hey,
what did you all do before the fucking internet? Like now we
we had gaming magazines.
We had gaming magazines with 3-month-old information.
Yeah, Nintendo power, baby. Come on.
E3.
Yeah, we had like
we get 4 or 5 big
G4
shows a
TV.
year, and it's
Yeah,
like
G4.
back in the day, you were lucky. Like you got some random gaming magazine from some fucking dude at the studio.
Yeah, but
like,
back then these games were dropping a lot more frequent. Now a game takes 6,
that's
7
because you
years.
didn't know about them.
yeah, because
No, but
a lot of times we didn't.
They didn't
you
take that
hear
long
about
to
a game
develop back then. They
until-
took 2-3 years tops back then. Like back
Yeah,
then.
but they don't look like the way they do now.
Like,
too,
look how
though.
many Mass Effects we got. We got 3 different fucking Mass Effects in the Xbox 360 generation.
Yeah,
right?
but that 360 generation was what, 13 years long?
No, no, it wasn't 13 years long. But you get my what I'm saying is, like, if you all I'm saying, if you announce a product, if you announce something and say radio silent on it for 2.5 years, people start to get worried and lose confidence in what's going on behind the scenes.
No idea what the fuck the game was. They don't care. They don't remember it. It's like
the core cares. You see that? I see this shit on Twitter all the time. Like people like today. Did y'all see the stuff going on with Playground and the people concerned about their engine and things taking too long because of all that stuff?
Concerned because
but there's concern out there. It's spreading around. It's spreading out there right now.
That's because you're in that fucking
rumors.
shit.
The rumors are being spread around because of people are trying to downplay these Microsoft titles. You're seeing that. So it's
so
one of those.
Show us confidence and proof of life and what you
go
have
ask your friend who's not following on Twitter,
coming
or
out.
following all
They're
YouTube stuff.
going to probably
Mav,
show
we're not
something when
convincing these guys.
It's like if you guys don't ever want to hear
It's not a matter of
I would
convincing.
love to
I'm just saying from at least from the standpoint of Xbox, nothing they do will ever be viewed. Well, I won't say ever, but it just seems like the whole thing with the Playground deal, that doesn't happen with PlayStation games because the PlayStation cats aren't spreading, rumors about stuff. They're intentionally trying to nitpick at stuff. Like you'll have the people with their fake concern over a game that they had no intention of ever playing.
The fake concern. It's
I'm not saying your concern is fake or anything along those lines. I'm just saying the ones that are about the fake concern. Like there are people that I see in the PlayStation fandom that will purposely know, hey, you know what? We haven't seen anything on, Hellblade 2. Oh, it didn't show at the Game Awards. It must be in trouble.
At some point,
and they'll spread that, and it's like the news article
at
things.
Some point,
they'll pick it up, and it just becomes a rolling turd down a hill because they kept on spewing stuff. Which I understand if they were keeping us up to date, that probably shouldn't happen. But they are keeping us up to date. It's just not in the media format
that we would prefer.
Not,
they are
I mean,
like
are they on
Starfield-
Discord? I'm not even on their Discord. I didn't even know about that. Are they updating us on Discord?
Yes.
Like how?
Like
what are they
all
saying?
the questions that were from that came from
They
the
answered
Discord.
questions. They're doing the dev diaries in Discord.
Yeah,
pretty much.
So that's where the problem is. Maybe they should be more forward on saying, hey, if you're a fan of this series, go here.
Yeah, I don't even fucking know about it.
Turns out Mav's a casual.
The messaging. So
only
that's the
thing
thing with
the only
Xbox.
thing I say that they don't advertise that Discord stuff is because Discord is really not secure, for one, and two, just in case they
maybe they
say
shouldn't
something they
choose to market
shouldn't say
on
on there.
Discord then. I don't know. Like it's we gotta get out of here. This is gonna take forever.
I just want to say right now, Microsoft is just in a weird place until they get back on track and get this steady cadence. Things would be different, and I could see them updating us frequently when they know that the game is ready. They won't show these games far out like they did, and things would be totally better.
Fucking
2-3 years down the road, it won't matter what's coming out in
now.
5 years because it'll be what's coming out this year.
But I'm not talking. We're talking about those. I'm talking about those games, right?
Yeah, forget
You're
about those
talking
games,
about
Mav.
4 games.
It's just a weird thing that happened because 2022. Or in 2020, fucking COVID happened, and it pushed everything back. So now it fucked the whole fucking regiment. These games would have been out maybe this year or next year, but now they got pushed back a year and a half, maybe 2. We don't know yet.
I guess in 2.5 years they haven't gotten anything for us to be aware of in the game.
They got shit. Matt Booty's like, I want to show Fable, but the devs don't want me to.
Well, they should force them to.
Fable, they're working on
Who's
a
in
lot of
charge?
stuff.
Who's in charge, Psycho? Who's in charge?
I know. I understand.
Well, no, then you can't use that. Then you can't use that.
But
Who's in charge?
If Matt Booty says he wants to show it, but if your studio is like, hey, let's hold off until we give you the best light.
Nope. Who pays the bills? Who pays the bills?
The investors.
The devs that make the game, because Matt Booty's not making that game.
Okay.
One person.
Well, no, it would come down to management at that point, and it'd be like, all right, we need something by said deadline. You break off a team. I know it's going to probably take away from this project, but break off a team, make a slice,
his way talking
have it ready
about
by this time.
Okay,
I mean, they could do that,
They
but I
need
don't
to.
think
Their marketing right now is fucking broken. Okay, it needs to be fixed.
We know that.
Right? Bethesda's side
sucks.
is
Marketing
cool.
sucks.
Bethesda's side is cool. Part of what I'm talking about is part of the issue, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Part of the issue. Okay, and it's not the whole issue. It's part of the issue. It needs to be addressed. I agree. Going forward, I like Jasper and Psycho's idea, but that's not where we are yet.
No,
they
just had a Halo stream that no one watched. Did you watch it?
But Halo was released a year ago. What are we talking about? Halo was released a year ago. Which Halo stream?
The one that was like 3 days ago, where they talked about all the shit coming out for season 3.
No, I didn't watch that one.
See, no one watches it.
No.
We're talking about a game that if something came out right now for Perfect Dark, for Fable, for Avowed, for any of those games, I'd be all over that shit in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it's just a weird time right now. They're just not talking about it, and that's Matt Booty's way of saying that it looks good, and that's all he's going to say about it. That's his way of saying that. All right, that's why he said that.
We got to get everybody out of here. Sorry, I got to end the conversation. I think me and Pong.
I came on and I just fucking threw a wrench in the whole fucking
Me and Pong are going to agree to disagree with the other 3 panelists here. You guys don't like gaming news. That's cool. Me and Paul love to hear about gaming news.
That's not what we're saying.
We don't like. You guys don't like gaming news. You guys don't like to hear about these games. Me and Pong want to hear about all this shit. Me and him are on the same wavelength. That's cool, guys. I'll make sure they make they make the next announcement fucking Pong and Mav exclusive, and we won't share that shit with you. How about that? Huh? We'll keep it from you. We'll say we got deeds and you can't have it because you don't give a fuck. All right, sorry.
Did you hear about Perfect Dark? No.
I was just gonna say, there's a great saying. I don't want to hear the labor pains. I just want to see the baby. So I don't want to hear the dev anything. I don't want any of that. I just want the damn game.
Well, they showed us the fucking crown of the head like fucking 2.5 years ago, and now the baby's still sitting in the fucking womb. So let's get at some point. Like we got to see at least an eyeball, a fucking eyeball, a nose, right? Something.
Oh, look at that eyeball! It's so funny. It looks like a Nintendo 64
we gotta
graphics.
make
It's
sure
gonna be
that
ass.
we gotta make sure
that
that
eyeball doesn't match.
we
Is
gotta
that my
make sure
kid?
that
No.
baby isn't fucking
Wow,
dead laying there.
Wow.
All right.
Wow, Fuzzy.
Alvin with the $5 super chat is super stupid chat. Did I say stupid chat?
Stupid chat.
Alvin with the $5 super chat. Appreciate you again. Alvin says the Halo reaction probably reset their plans on showing vertical slices. Also, Vampire Survivors DLC is out. Awesome, dude. Appreciate you again, bro. All right, let's get our guests out of here. And Send Cakes, tell everybody where they can find your awesome stuff, bro.
You could find me at Insane Cakes on YouTube, Insane Cakes on Twitch. I think I have a Twitter somewhere. I mainly stream animations and occasionally games. So yeah.
And we'll check out the ZeniMax Online Discord for all the gaming news going forward. Appreciate you.
I don't even know if they have one.
Pong Soul,
They do.
Encyclopedia Gaming, dating back to the first game ever created. Where can me and you find gaming news together at, bro?
It's good to know what word you were thinking about that entire time, Matt, by the way. Stupid. Anyways. Love you all, brothers. This was a crazy conversation. We haven't had one of these in a long time, going back and forth. So yeah, Team Mav and Team Pong win. But that's
it looks like there's more of us than you.
Continue this later. Anyways, Pong Soul on Xbox, Pong Soul on Twitter. Tomorrow morning, you know the drill. Me and Steele are going to have a lot to talk about tomorrow morning because we did not cover the FTC last week during our nearly 5-hour show. So we're going to cover a little bit of that. Tomorrow we're going to have a lot to talk about. Yeah, probably. But be there 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. And then back at it tomorrow night, of course, on PTK Blam's channel, the Shop Podcast. Myself, Fuzzy. PTK is going to be there. He's the man, of course. But then we've got a guest tomorrow night, and it is Infinite. Umbra is going to be our guest tomorrow night, so be there 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock Central Time on the Shop Podcast. Next week, you know what it is. Tuesdays, Xbox Factor Podcast, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time with the man of the hour, 5 days a week, Mr. Boomstick. Be there. And then, of course, Mav and I are back next Thursday. Yes, we will have a show pre-Christmas where Mav and I can once again discuss why all these other panelists are wrong, and we will do that exclusively on PM in the PM, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time, right here on Fun Speculation Channel. Otherwise, it is the golden age of gaming, people. That's why we're all here. That's why we're all fired up talking about this stuff. Enjoy it. Play what you love what you play. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to y'all real soon.
Regardless of how they marketed Xbox's future is bright. Golden age.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Jasper,
Insane Cakes, thanks for giving us your time too.
Oh yeah, this was, I did not mean to have this be a 3.5 hour show. So I appreciate
that's my fault.
Especially an hour and a half on marketing. But hey,
well, an hour and a half on marketing and about 10 minutes of touch controls conversation.
Yeah,
so that was great.
This will be the only show where you get an hour and a half of marketing talk. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Jasper, where can everybody find you, bro?
Yo, even if Xbox goes back to let's show everything 5 years away, I'll still be happy.
This conversation's done, Jasper. Just get on with your outro. You lost. Hurry up.
Or Jasper on Twitter, or Master Jasper on YouTube. Stream random shit whenever. Check it out. Monday, FSP, 10 o'clock Eastern with Fuzzy, Psycho, 3-bit, some other people occasionally. And it's back Xbox Ultimate Fridays, 10 o'clock here. Fun Speculation Channel. Check it out.
But and I forgot, we did get a $2 super chat from Xbox International Podcast. Shout out to Crazy Louie. Again, $2 says Crackdown 3 Game of the Year. And also shout out to you because it's getting married tomorrow.
Yeah,
big day.
Sure. There's still time to turn around, Louie. Still time to cancel it.
Louie's life
walk
is
away.
Officially over tomorrow. Yeah, no, just kidding. Congratulations, bro, and I hope you have a good one tomorrow. Fuzzy, where can everybody check out your bad marketing takes?
It was awesome being on here, right or wrong. It all, it was fun.
Yeah,
it was fun meeting you, Insane Cakes, and thanks for everybody that came out and interacted with us. For anybody that wants to hear my rambles or bad takes on anything gaming related, just follow me on Twitter at @Fuzzy_Belvedere.
Right on, dude. Appreciate you as always, Fuzz. Even though you're a pony.
Undercover pony, exactly.
Psychonauts.
Love how the two that lost the debate are just resulting to insults now. That's funny.
shout out to Psycho. Thanks for showing up here and derailing our show.
AKA
You're
the
awesome,
bull
man.
in the China shop. Let's go, Psycho.
Yes. Thank you for having me tonight. It's always wonderful. And eventually we'll know the update of these games. So you can find me on Xbox and Twitter at Psychonauts 8. You can find me here Mondays at FSP with 10 o'clock with Fuzzy and everybody, Jasper, Mav. Sometimes 3-bit when he's not busy making games. And here Friday. And 10 o'clock. And we'll catch you guys. Thanks, chat, for coming out. And same cakes. Yeah, brother. We have to play some games sometime. Not tonight, but it's my bedtime.
Definitely.
And all right, guys. Thank you.
Yeah,
and Mav, where can they find you with your awesome take?
Yeah, appreciate everybody stopping by for the show. Thanks, man. Thanks. I know. No, I appreciate it, dude. And everybody can check out FSP Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Pong said we're back next Thursday for PM in the PM. We didn't get to have a show yesterday because he's selfish. But
correct.
No, we'll have a fun show next week, and we do have a special guest. Asa from Game On Daily is going to be there, so it's going to be a lot of fun with that. Yeah, Asa. And Friday's night we'll have some kind of stream. I don't know if we're going to have a full show or not because I don't know who all is going to be able to be there for next Friday night. But we'll figure that out, and it'll probably be some kind of fun like community type thing. Have a good one, everybody. Take it easy. Merry Christmas. High on Life is stupid ass fun. Enjoy it.
Yes,
Peace.
love it.